Comrade.
By the grace of Almighty God and the assistance of Africa, I am fine in the land of Africa.
Yes, Africa United. Nice. Good to be here. Greetings to all the brethren of the house and the whole of Africa. Enough respect to you for doing this, allowing us to come on your platform. Pure love and peace to all the brethren. We're hoping that we have a good time tonight. Like you said, today is a special day for the people of Africa, particularly the people of Ghana. And we're excited to be here. And we are very honored that you allow us to come on your platform to share with all our people, brethren from all over the world. So we're excited to be here.
All right. Thank you so much also for coming here to speak to us. We are all fighting for a good leadership in the land of Africa. And you are also tired of the continent. And you devoted yourself to contest as a presidential candidate in the Republic of Ghana to give, to provide a good leadership to the people of Ghana. Because you have seen what is happening in the country and what is happening in the continent before you choose to become a leader or you choose to become a savior to the people of Ghana. I will say we will first of all thank you for having this vision to come and change any kind of leadership that you think is not going on in the Republic of Ghana. Thank you first of all. Thank you so much.
By all means, man. When we appreciate you. The struggle is for all of us. If everybody takes their fair share, then it doesn't become a struggle. And we're hoping to bring about a renewed consciousness so that people will bite into this, so that Africa, for the first time, will change forever. We need that.
All right. I already communicated with you that this my platform is not locally for only the people of Ghana. It is for international platform. Over 90%, 99% of my followers over here are international people, all over from the continent of Africa. The Ghanaians I have here are not much enough. But because you are becoming a leader, you are not only a leader to the Republic of Ghana, but you are a leader to the whole continent. So everybody can come from all angles of Africa to ask you the question concerning the leadership role that you want to have in the Republic of Ghana. So number one.
I ask that all the African brothers and sisters who are on here will alert their Ghanaian brothers and sisters to get on this platform, because Kofi Koranting is here and he has something for the Ghanaians, the whole of Africa, but particularly Ghanaians. So they should get on this platform immediately to listen, because it involves their future.
So, wow, the platform is yours. Or should we wait to 30 minutes before we started to bring, or you can start it now?
No, we could get started.
All right. So the platform is yours. Whatever you want to tell the people of Africa, particularly your own people from Ghana, you can go on board and you talk to them.
Thank you very much for the chance to address our people in a very special way on this platform.
People of Africa, with your due respect, as he is going to talk to us, we are going to pay attention and listen to him. Whether you are from Ghana, wherever you are coming from, all the 54 countries of Africa, everybody is right here to question Mr. Kofi Koranting, the reason why he wants to become a president to the Republic of Ghana. Everybody has the right. So we are all going to listen to him. Then after, we have a questions to ask him. Right. I don't know. We are using 1 hour for you to have enough time to express yourself. Then we can use the remaining hours to ask a question. Is that okay?
More than enough. More than enough.
All right.
Okay. So, my brethren, please listen to me. My name is Kofi Koranting. I was born here in Ghana. I lived in London. I lived in the US for the most of my life. I've been in US. I've come back to Ghana since 2019. And the reason why I came to Ghana, back to Ghana to live and to fight is because I am embarrassed. I am embarrassed by the things that our leaders do and that which has caused every son and daughter of Africa to seek greener pastures outside of their homes that they were born. It's not natural. It's not normal. It's a substandard way of thinking that we have normalized to a point that is degenerative to our existence. And what I mean is this: most African countries, we wallow in a spectrum of poverty as a standard. We bounce back and forth in a spectrum of poverty. Where is the excellence in our people? If our people could travel abroad outside of our places of birth and seek greener pastures and be exceptions in society in somebody else's domain, why can't we do it for ourselves in our domain? We need to start looking at how the African becomes special. We need to look about how we venture into the possibilities of excellence in the human experience when we talk about Africa. Everywhere I go, Africans are at the bottom of the social ladder. It's almost as if we were born to serve everybody else except for ourselves. And that kills my heart because I know how special we are. Everything that we guided to do, we do well. We do so well that we beat our teachers. We do better than our teachers. Why can we not do it for ourselves? Do we hate ourselves that much? And I don't believe that is so. I think the reason why we have not found the excellence in us is because we haven't had good leadership. If we find good leadership, that would be the master plan. It's a master plan that we so desire because we need a master class of excellence. And that's why I am running for president of Ghana. I believe with the vision that I have, I will be able to assemble the best of the best to create that master class, to put together a master class of excellence. First, you need to assemble a team of people who know exactly what they're doing, who have the competence, who have the expertise. You see? And it looks like everything we've done so far has been a really bad experiment for Africa. So now we need to come together and assemble the best of the best to create that masterpiece in us. And that's why I run. I run because the youth of Africa, 66% of pretty much every African nation, is ready for a takeoff. But to do the takeoff, we need the best pilots. If we don't get on that plane with the best pilots, we're going to take off and then crash, which we cannot afford to do. We've seen too many of the crashes. We took off in independence, everybody getting independence in the 50s, some in the 60s, and then we never really hit altitude, the right altitude. It's been a bumpy ride of failure and substandardness. And we need to change. We need to rewrite the story all over again from our hands and from our own scripting. We can't allow for anybody to write our story for us. And for that, I run to put together the best of the best of Africans. And in particular, when we talk about Ghana, in Ghana, assemble the best so that we could write a different story, so that the youth can meet their aspirations. My plan is simple, and I know it's like that for most African countries. In Ghana, for particular, we want to change the Constitution. Three things that I talk about most. Change the Constitution of Ghana because it's allowed for the few political elite to rape our system. So we have to change the Constitution to stop them from raping the rest of the Ghanaians. And then we need to eradicate corruption. We need to kill corruption because it's killing us. And in killing corruption, anyone who stand in our way, we're going to roll over them because corruption has done, it's killed us, literally killed us. We lose about $3 to $4 billion in corruption, to corruption every year. An amount of money that could have fixed all our infrastructure in Ghana for the last 32 years. But people take that money and feed their families and themselves and their friends with it, which we cannot allow. We've allowed a foreign system that has no interest in our well-being to take over our lands, our resources, our youth. And that's why the human capital that we need really has left Africa. We need to bring back the human capital. We need to bring back our boys and girls who've left the continent to develop our continent. And that's why I run. The third thing I talked about, the threesome: change the Constitution, eradicate corruption, and institute a national development plan. We have to be committed to development that does not change. A 50-year development plan, which is in 4-year bite sizes. 50 years, nobody could change it because in 50 years from now, everywhere in Africa has to be at the level beyond the first world, at first world or beyond first world, which means a set of things have to be in place. We have to have housing together where our people are not sleeping on floors and outside. We have to have healthcare so that functional healthcare goes to our people where they're not sick. We have to have employment, meaningful employment that gives people a lifestyle. People can live and take care of themselves and not have an entitlement mindset of dependence on the government. We need to have education that means something. The purpose of education is for you to learn something from it, to take care of the needs that you have in society, to elevate your life. It seems like the education that we get is only to prepare us to work for somebody else and not for ourselves. The curriculums that are written for us to follow for our education path has been disastrous because it hasn't helped us develop. And that's what we need. We need transportation systems, mass transit systems. For us to really excel in commerce, to have an economic explosion, we need to have transportation systems. We need rail, fast rail, trains, freight to transport goods. We need waterways, clean waterways. We need planes, airlines, and depots and huge terminals to transport services and goods all over Africa. It's cheaper to go to London or US to shop than to go to a neighboring African country because of transportation. That should never be the case. It should be totally unacceptable. Our biggest Francophone economy, which is Ivory Coast, and our biggest Anglophone economy, which is Nigeria, it will be easier for us to get to London or the US than to get to Nigeria with goods. Even Dangote, who's a billionaire, has a challenge moving goods and services in Africa. It should never be like that because our transportation systems are non-existent. We need fast rail so somebody could get on a train in Lagos and be in Accra in 2 hours or less to transact business and be heading back by lunchtime. That's what we need to be doing. We need our waterways for leisure. Telecommunications. We cannot have Michael Adenuga from Nigeria be the only one who has laid a fiber optic cable from the West to Nigeria and West Africa. We cannot have that. We have to have more fiber optic cables laid at the bottom of the sea, hundreds of them, so that calling our neighborhood African countries will be like calling somebody locally. It's a lot easier and cheaper to call somebody in London or the US than for a Ghanaian to be calling somebody in Nigeria. How come? It just doesn't make any kind of sense. So we need telecommunication. Then we need security. Security so our borders are protected. We don't have illegal goods, contrabands coming in that retards our development and puts our citizens to risk. We can't have that. We need surveillance equipment and the most sophisticated equipment to protect our borders. And not only to protect things coming in, but also to secure things so they don't steal the natural resources out. We need the natural resources to go through a secure channel so that the rewards, monetization of our natural resources could go to the government so that it's equitably shared amongst all citizens. We need leisure. We need leisure so that the African child, the African adult can love being in Africa. They don't find a need to have to go to Dubai to have fun. There are so many places in Africa, particularly in Ghana, that's underdeveloped for tourism. What does the African child, what does the African adult do for leisure, except for funerals that they go to? What do we do for leisure? We need to develop our landscape so it's attractive. People would like to just go out and have fun, kayak and do snorkeling in our waters and spree on the mountains and do forest trails, biking, hiking, do all sorts of things in our wild. We need to develop that. We need to do overnight trails into the zoos and to the parks so we can see wild animals. We don't just kill our wild animals, we enjoy them. We need to do that for leisure. We need to develop our markets so that our farmers, our first level of people who feed us, will have a way to sell their goods and services. Our markets are not developed. Even food we import into Ghana. We import food is, I think, the number 6 commodity biggest import on our list. Food, including rice. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that we import rice when we have the best grains, but because we don't add value, most of it is exported and the rest of it is not even edible. So we need to develop our markets and retail systems. So we build shopping malls and super and mega malls so that every African farmer, every Ghanaian worker who trades or it's a farmer or develops a commodity can have the option to sell so that they can make money to take care of themselves. And lastly, we need to develop a functional central business district so that all the avenues of private sector business can meet the world in trade. FDIs could come in on a platform that's developed for them to transact big business. That's what we need to do. And that's why I am running, because the leadership of Ghana for the last 32 years, matter of fact, the last 67 years, has not presented Ghana with these opportunities. Developing a nation is very specific. Developing a nation is not about doing things in isolation. Developing a nation is being very specific. There are things you need to do specifically to develop a nation. And that's what I have laid out to you. We need to bring value to our people. And that's what I'm about. And I am thankful that you allow me to come onto your platform. And I think as questions come in, I'll be able to lay out and maybe clarify some positions that I have in the development trail that we have put forth. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. So are you done with it? For the questions, I know the questions will be coming. We have 2 hours to use over here. So now people can come for the questions, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
We have
all right, so guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is a question time. Any question you have, you want to ask Mr. Kofi Cranton, you can ask him so that we all listen to him. So it's a question time.
Yeah, good evening to everybody, Mr. Kofi.
With your due respect.
Mr. Kofi, Mr. Kofi, I've said it all. Hello. Hello.
Please,
hello. Yeah. Mr. Kofi, I've said it all. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Hello. Hello.
With your due respect, I want everybody, your question time, you should be able to use your time, only 1 minute, so that other people can also question.
Okay.
With your due respect, 60 seconds, which is 1 minute.
Okay.
Because I've seen a lot of people now saying.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. With regards to agriculture, the mechanized system we are going to adapt for the agriculture per our economic standard, how do you generate the revenue to commence the agriculture?
All right, thank you very much. The money that we're going to develop or take to use in agriculture will come from the money that the political leaders have stolen over the last 32 years. We're going to take back all the monies because we have a paper trail, so we know who took what. And they will be giving us our money back. We're not going to the IMF. So that's where the money's coming from.
On point. You have answered me. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am from Eritrea. I hope, I wish you good luck for the presidential election in Ghana. But I do have a question about, there is 14 countries in Africa that pay taxes to France. That is about $500 billion annually, and it's about 85% of annual income from that countries. For example, that countries is Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Togo, Cameroon, Central Africa, Republic of Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and Gabon. So this is like bringing those population. It's not only, and those who try to refuse the leadership, refuse to pay these taxes. We know that often they leads to coup. I mean, they withdraw them from the power by France. So what is your plan for this colonial taxation? For I'm talking about Africa, general about Africa. What is your plan, or what is your?
Well, what I can say, I'm in Ghana, so we are not under that same curse. Okay, but what I could say is the leadership. If the leadership is not ready to have control of their own central banking system, then the youth have to push for reforms. You know, because you can't have somebody sitting somewhere making calls to how your country is run. It just, listen, maybe 50 years ago, you could have gotten away with that. But today, I don't see how that can happen. I really can't see. I wish I could have an answer for you, but it just doesn't make sense to me. And I cannot understand why any French-speaking African country, any Francophone country in Africa will allow for that to happen. There's got to be something, maybe I don't know, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I go? Okay. Good evening to you, sir. I listened to you keenly as you spoke. You talked about how you're going to develop Ghana and the small business sectors. How do you plan to fund that? Where are you going to get the money? Because we are seeing what's happening in Kenya, right? We see that Ruto was planning to tax the people of Kenya, working class people who are already struggling. So he was trying to tax them to raise funds to pay the debt that had nothing to do with them. So how do you plan to fund your plan? Number two, your country, Ghana, you export cocoa to Switzerland to make chocolates. How do you plan for Ghanaian to manufacture locally and export good locally and create job for your voters and the potential people that you will lead if elected? Thank you.
All right, great question. So the first question is the way we're going to fund this is, the plan is this, and I think it goes for the whole of Africa. We have to invest heavily into into agriculture. We don't have any other way. If we want to wean ourselves from World Bank, we need to put a lot into agriculture. And where the money is coming from is for all the people who have stolen the monies in the last 32 years, 67 years. We have a record of them. It's just that all the governments that have come have protected them, so they've held on to the money. We're not going to protect anyone. If you've taken our money, bring back our money. We invest the money into agriculture. The output from the agriculture, we're going to feed into our agro-based industries, which a lot of them collapsed, but we're going to resuscitate. The output from the agro-based industries, we're going to add value and export. And the foreign exchange that we get back is what's going to be the basis for going into our domestic market, which will be the second level of development. So we go into what we call a horizontal integration of industries at the second level after agriculture. And we'll start producing all the the domestic market. Everything in the domestic market, instead of importing, we're going to export. We're going to manufacture at home to use for ourselves, because there's just so much money that we spend on importing. You with me?
Okay. Can I talk, please, or there is someone before me?
And then part of, hold on one second. Put your phone to mute when you get here, please. And then part of that money is what we, in the integration, horizontal integration, what we're going to be doing is everything we've been exporting, now that we're going to value chain by building value adding, that like the crude, we export a lot of oil. We don't have to. We export all our cocoa. We don't have to. We're going to build refineries in-house. So value add is at the highest in Ghana before it leaves our ports. That's how we're going to do it.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Kofi. Thanks for the opportunity, I have two questions that I would like to ask. I might want to extend it, but I will just focus it on Ghana. As an individual that wants to be the president of Ghana, and I also heard you overemphasizing on the agriculture. Do you have a farm where you employ Ghanaians working on the farm? That's number one. Before being president, like currently, that's number one. Number two, why do you want the people of Ghana to trust you to make you the president of Ghana? Thank you.
Okay, good questions. Incidentally, I do. Cassava farm that we export, my sisters and I export to London. Why the people of Ghana have to trust me is because I'm the only one with the solutions. Now, that's easier said. But when you listen to me and the things that I say, like change the constitution, nobody wants to change the constitution because it's what protects the criminals who've been the politicians for the last 67 years. I'm the only one who says I'm going to change it. I'm not going to review it. I'm going to change it. I'm the only one who says I'm going to cut the benefits that the politicians are getting, which is called Article 71 and ex gratia. Everybody wants to protect it. I want to cut it off. I'm the only one who is going to cut government by 70%, make it efficient, effective, and functional. Government has 275 parliamentarians for 33 million people. Waste. If you're doing a national development plan and we are going to know what every community needs, then you don't need legislators coming into parliament to tell us what we need. Artificial general intelligence will tell us that. You see, because we have census, which tells us, which gives us the demographics of every area. In today's world, when you know how old a person is and their lifestyle, you know how they function and you know everything they need. You don't need to employ somebody to tell you. So why do we have so many ministers, so many members of parliament, so many ministers of state? It's all a waste. A paycheck for the boys and girls. We're going to cut all of that. So if the things that I'm saying are practical, common sense solutions, everybody who is discerning knows that for me to be proposing these things, I've got to be different from them. Now, if you take a look at how Ghana has performed in the last 67 years, we've gone backwards. So now if you're a citizen who pays attention to what's going on, who are you going to listen to? The people who have failed you for 67 years, who've degenerated your society, or the person who's bringing you a chance for you to meet your aspirations? The difference is clear. Next.
Good afternoon, Brother Kofi.
Yes, sir.
This question, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, this question might be a little bit more raw, right? Now, my problem is straightforward. One, I would like you to change the law if you become president in Ghana. What do you say?
Change the law on what?
Change the whole law, but it must defend the brothers and sisters from that country, and it mustn't be a law that damage the brothers and sisters, and it uphold the YT. Secondly, I would like you to, if you become president, would you try to meet Malema and Abraham, like bring them together on a meeting and try to find out what is their idea and how they should go about this part where I'm about to say, getting all white people out of Africa. That is another thing. The reason why I said the law is that for that is because now if you realize that every time these people come to our country, they are more protected than our citizens in that country, right? That law is something there forever. And we don't want people in a country that don't, that have resources, have people come in there, right, and pillaging, and then also have the right to walk boat and go anywhere and do anything. So we need to change some type of law that can make our people have respect and at the same level, even if they have the people coming to our country. Now, it might sound kind of weird there, but yeah, I want you to say, this is what I want to say. Is you have a problem, right? I know this is tough for you. This is the real question. Is you have a problem with getting rid of all white people out of Africa?
All right. So, okay, so let me answer your question, because I think the third question and the fourth question are the same. So the first thing about changing the law, in terms of laws, that's what a constitution does. And that's what I said. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the constitution to protect the people, okay, from people exploiting us. We don't want to be a people who are exploited. We want to be, because we are decent Ghanaians, decent Africans. We want decent laws that protects us, that guides us, that develops us, that allows us to be the best that we can be, as our makers intended us to be. Okay, the second thing you asked was, am I going to get with Malema? And everybody who is pro-African, of course, we could do a roundtable and see how we can make Africa better for the world. Okay, now, and let me just say this. You cannot want Africans to be better and hate anybody. The people in Africa who you say are white and have maybe done some bad things in Africa is because we did not have right-thinking leaders. It has nothing to do with the whites who came in. Now, of course, some people came in with bad ideas to do all sorts of things. But if we had leaders who knew what they were doing, then they would not allow anybody to do bad things to Africans. There have been Black people who have done worse to Africans. Okay, so the key here is to have leaders who protect Africans, not against anybody, not against anyone, but for the sake of Africans. So we just want the distinction to be made. We don't have anything against white people. White people can live their life. They could come to Africa and just as much as a lot of Black people go to all these other white countries and enjoy and get jobs and do a lot of things, okay? But what is important is we need leadership that could stop evil from happening to Black people wherever they are. And that's what the key is, and that's what I am in for, and that's what I'm going to do for Ghana. Next question.
Perfect. So thank you first of all, Mr. Kofi, and thank you for Africa United to give us this chance. So by the way, guys, actually I'm from the corner of Africa. And as you said, Mr. Kofi, I'm from one of the countries who did worse than the white people to African people. We have to say the truth. First of all, the white people, they did only three things, no more and no less. The first thing that they did, it was that these people, first of all, they destroy our history. You know, a human being without history is not a human being anymore. You can watch his brain anytime you want. Secondly, now today, I'm from Djibouti, for example. So in Djibouti, since my country take the independence in 1977 till today, our currency didn't change. Our people have to focus on one thing, It's like how it's possible that our land, in our land is the most rich land in the whole in all this world. Let's make it short. And our people are the poorest people in the world. Brother, guys, I'm sorry, Mr. Coffee, but if I talk to my African people and my African brothers, first of all, we have to search about our history first. When you find your own history, when you find where you come from.
Sir, please, are you asking a question? Because we have only 1 minute, 1 minute to spend to ask a question, and you spend
Okay,
more than 2 minutes.
okay,
Right.
I'm sorry about that. So, Mr. Coffee, the question that I have for you, it's simple. My question is how to make our people proud about what they are, how to make our people free, because we're still not free today. We come from a slavery, but this slavery, most of our people think that African people used to be slave for a long time now. We used to be kings. We used to be called the land of gods. So how to make our people free financially, and how we can say to make our people proud again, and to make Africa proud again.
All right. So a couple of things. Listen, in every, I think sometimes we have an unrealistic expectation of how the world should work. Okay. Human beings, even when I have a son, I have a daughter, 3 years, well, 4 years, 6 years now. My son always wants to take advantage of his sister. His sister always wants to take advantage of her brother. One mother, one father. Okay? 2 years difference. So it's something that we are as human beings. Everybody wants a leg up on the other person. Now, if I had 2 wives and one was white, one was black, then somebody looking will say, oh, you know, the white kid wants to get over the black kid, or the black kid wants to get over on the white kid. But it's just the way human beings are. What I do as a father, what the mother does as a mother, is always create an equilibrium of peace and understanding. We have to constantly remind them that they are the same people. There's no need to fight. That, you see? So you need a leader, which we have not had in Africa. We need the African leaders to step up. The white people or the other people who are taking advantage of you, or in every other region in Africa, they are there and they are taking advantage of you because your leaders are not doing what they're supposed to do. It's not a function of the people who come there to be kind to you. That's not how human beings are wired to do. Human beings always want to take advantage. They always take the path of least resistance and the most gain. That's the way human beings are wired. You see? So what I'm telling you is there always has to be somebody on guard, the leader, who sets together strict rules and regulations, and then law and order to guide the people, protect the people, develop the people. So now, if I were to sit with your leaders right now and I said, show me the development plan of revolutionizing the intellect of your citizens, they will not have one. They have to have a plan to revolutionize the intellect of the people. Ghana does not have one. That's why I am running for president. That's why I know that the leaders we have do not see into the future. because it's all about how you develop the mind of the person to protect themselves. And African leaders have done a very poor job in doing that, plain and simple. And that's why everybody comes to Africa to take advantage of us. So we need a new breed of leaders who protect the citizens and develop the minds of the citizens so that they could take care of themselves and build wealth and meet their aspirations. That's the ball game.
Okay, Mr. Kofi, this I'm speaking from Nigeria. Can I ask a question?
Please,
Okay.
everybody take on it. Excuse me. Abdel still want to ask one question. Abdel.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Abdel.
So listen, Mr. Kofi. Now, you know, in the politics, you know, we have a proverb we always say actually that when you lie as a politician to the people, for example, it's a politic. But when a civilian lie to the government, it's you will be a criminal, right? So by the way, now you are talking about Ghana. That's great. You're a person who wants to develop his own country with ambitions, as much I am. So the question that I have for you is, you know, the human being, you know, there is a way to test a human being actually. There's only one way. And it's always a difficult way. So, Mr. Kofi now, I'm sorry for this question. It's gonna be a little bit not professional, but
Go ahead.
doesn't matter. So, if now you become, even before becoming a president, while you are making your campaign, if I take your daughter or someone, because I will never take it as a matter, but it's just an example, you know, just a scenario. So, if someone take your daughter from your country, who has been sent it by some of these corrupted, stupid people. So, and they menace you, which one you will choose to continue your objective of helping your country and developing your country, or your family? Which one you gonna choose then?
Yeah, of course I'll choose my family.
So it's me like now you are not a real patriot.
Okay, so let me explain to you, because the person who is not willing to die for their family is not willing to die for their country. That's the real answer to that. If you are willing to die for your family, then you will die for your country.
But sir, listen. Can I speak, please? I'm sorry for the interruption, but the fact of you now choosing your family over your own country, that you are willing to become a president of it. So it's me like you are choosing your family against millions of your compatriots, right?
No.
Am I wrong?
Yes, you are. See, for
How?
every situation, because
I'm sorry, but continue, sir. I'm sorry.
No. Well, let me tell you, for every situation that you embark, there has to be circumstances surrounding it. And I totally understand. And before you even asked the question, I knew where you were going. That's why I gave you the answer. But what I want to tell you is that which is important to you, you shouldn't be scared to protect. You understand what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah, I get what Mr. Kofi is trying to say.
no. Hold up. Let me finish. I don't need help in answering that. I really want to get the point clear. But the circumstances behind, and what happens after is what determines the decision that you make in that instance. Now, if somebody came up and said, hey, listen, I'm putting a gun to your daughter's head, I'm putting a gun to the country Ghana, the circumstances will also determine what choice to make. But ordinarily, you should always, and I would always pick my family, because
Exactly.
you see what I'm saying? You should understand what I'm saying. You have to really be beyond to really understand what I'm saying. But that I stand by that.
Good evening, Mr. Kofi.
Good evening.
Please, my question is, there is this useless organization in Africa called the ECOWAS. Are you going to join in hand with the ECOWAS, or are you going to join BRICS? That's my question.
Well, number one, you don't join BRICS. They invite you. And before they invite you, you have to have something of worth for them to invite you to the table. So the ideal situation is—
Great answer.
Say it again?
I was just saying great answer, sorry.
Yeah, so the idea is to build ourselves to the point where we invited to BRICS. But prior to doing that, one thing what we want to do is we want to bring Africa together, not split Africa. Now, I know just as much as many of you know that ECOWAS has not represented ECOWAS well. ECOWAS has not represented Africa well. Just like AU does not represent Africa. So there are things that we need to talk about. There are things that we need to talk about to ECOWAS and to AU to bring them home, to make them pro-Africa, because they have not been pro-Africa in my books. But you don't want to leave the room for discussion. And the reason is you cannot affect change from the outside in circumstances like this. You have to be on the inside to affect change. So yes, even though I am not happy with what AU or ECOWAS really stands for and has been able to do, I cannot just leave the room and say, just because I'm not happy with what you're doing, I don't want to be part of this. I want to be able to stay in to affect change, so that the changes that are needed, we could help bring in, so we could affect the whole Africa.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, good evening. I had a question. I wanted to, first of all, I respect a lot of your answers so far. And I just wanted to piggyback off of the brother that spoke a couple of times before the last brother. You mentioned manufacturing, which is very, very important. And I'm glad you brought up manufacturing, home manufacturing of the people. Now, my question is, if we're going to do self-development, what can we do? What tactics would you put in place as far as either isolating or separating from the what's in place, the system of development that's in place, which is controlled by outside corporations? Because if we're going to thrive as self-development, if self-development is going to thrive, that must happen. So rather than to make it simplistic to say, oh, let's kick out Europeans, but at the same time, what are we going to do to keep that influence or keep our endeavors protected from what's the dominant influence right now, which is that a lot of people said that the many Africans are doing worse than what the Europeans are. Well, most of those leaders and politicians or whatnot are financed by Europeans. So what can we do to develop without that type of stronghold that's in place now? What kinds of things can you do about that? Thank you.
Great question. Well, let me take you through the spectrum so you can understand. So, first of all, you don't have money. So, or brother, you don't want to find out about how you make money. So you borrow money, and when you borrow money, it comes with a manual. How do you use this money?
No, you. I'm just asking them to double tap on the screen. No, you, sir.
Okay.
Guys, with all respect, let's try to double tap. Bring the youth of Africa. It's all for all of the continent of Africa, even though he's contesting in the Republic of Ghana. But this is how can we get a good leader? And that is why we are all asking Mr. Kofi one or two questions if we can get a good leaders in the continent. If he is also going to be part of the good leaders we are looking for. Thank you.
All right, great. So back to your question. So the way you do it is you first have to have an organic way of manufacturing money. I'm not saying literally manufacturing money, but generating wealth. How do you generate the wealth? And this is why I go back to agriculture. If you don't do it from agriculture, chances are, because you're not starting from the ground, you're starting from midway, because you don't have the expertise, you have to borrow it from somewhere, you see? So that's the genius of starting it from agriculture. When you start from agriculture, you start with what you have, and you add value to what you have. You export, get the foreign exchange reserve, and you go from level 1 industry to level 2 industry, where you're doing slightly sophisticated things. Now, between the agriculture and going to level 1, level 2 development, what you do is key, and that's what a lot of African countries miss, and that's what Ghana has missed, and the leaders we have don't have a clue about. You have to develop competencies. Without the competencies, even if you bring in the money, what's the money going to do? You install factories. Who's going to operate it? And who's going to operate it effectively and efficiently and functionally to get a desired result? What Africa missed is competencies. If I went back and I took a look at Taiwan in the late 50s and looked at Ghana in the late 50s, and our GDP was about the same. You look at Taiwan today, you compare it to Ghana, night and day. Major difference. You know what the difference is? Competencies. Because they're more competent, they do microchips, sell it for $1,000, $2,000. Ghana, we do, I can't say the local things because you wouldn't know what it is, but we do pistols for pounding yam and cassava and stuff. How many pistols can you do to sell at 3,000 cedis, $3,000? Like a whole country full, and you still will not be able to get 1,000. You see what I'm saying? So you have so many people operating at a very low competency. So no matter how much they do, you don't take any oxygen out of the room because you're not making a lot of money. So we need to go from doing more and getting very little to doing little and getting a lot of money. And from that wealth building, we will be able to secure these sophisticated factories and compete with the West and the East. Right now, we don't have the competencies. Even if they came in and installed the factories for us, who's going to work there? You go to Ghanaian hospitals, and anybody has a complex surgical procedure to do, they have to fly out to the US or to UK or to Dubai. And why can't we do it here? Competencies. We have Ghanaian doctors, they just won't function here because you don't pay them a lot. You don't have the medical stuff the medical staff that's giving them the full circle support systems, and you need competencies. So we need to go heavy into competencies to create them.
influences that are making it hard to come? Oh, I'm sorry. What about that influences making it hard for us to compete in Ghana? The outside corporations making it hard for us. How can we?
You are cutting out.
Oh, I'm sorry. How can we? Yes. How can we? Oh, I'm cutting out. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're cutting out. We can't really hear you.
1, 2. Can you hear me?
Better now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Say that again.
Okay. What about now?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. What I was saying is, what can we do about the outside corporations making it difficult for us to compete? That's one of the things making it hard for us to compete on the continent and everywhere else is the outside corporations we're competing with that we cannot compete with right now. What can you do to eliminate that so-called competition? We shouldn't even be competing with them at all on the African continent.
Listen, it's so simple. And when I say this, you will laugh. They're here taking our raw materials because they can't do whatever they're doing without our raw materials. Right or right? So for you to be able to stop them is for you to utilize your raw materials and give them finished products. So they wouldn't, if you stop giving them the raw materials, they would have to buy the finished products from you. But the only problem is you can't do the finished products. So how are you going to stop them? Well, by doing the finished products and presenting it for sale. But you can't do that without being a competent person. You don't have the competencies. You see what I'm saying? So you're shooting yourself in the foot because you haven't elevated your game. And that's what I'm saying. We need to first get some money in the bank and start training our people to meet the competency level of the West and East. So that with our raw materials that they buy from us, listen, Ghana just gave away our lithium. I spoke to some ministers. Oh, Kofi, we can't do anything with the lithium. I was like, how dumb? You can't do anything with the lithium? And you
right.
are talking about bringing in electric cars and the next administration, and you're giving away the lithium? Well, we don't have the people, the expertise, competencies. So if we had the competencies, then we wouldn't have to give away the lithium. We would do the engine blocks, the power blocks, and sell it so they could put in the electric cars. And then if they have to sell it back or we have to buy, or better yet, just make the whole cars here and sell it. Because we and the rest of the African nations in the region have all the components to do the electric lithium batteries. So they buy from all the African countries. What if we could say, listen, no raw material leaves any African country. So we get all the 4 countries that produce all the components for the lithium battery. And let's say we go into an agreement because everybody's bringing 5%, 20%, 15%. The equitable amount you make from the total sale of the lithium battery when we sell it, and we sell it from Ghana. So when we sell it from Ghana, we sell a block for $100. Ghana makes 35, maybe one other country makes 20. Why can't we do that? We give everything away. No wonder they have a leg on us. So we can end this thing tomorrow if we have the competencies. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense? You don't have the competency. You have the raw material, but you don't. You don't know what to do with it.
Okay, Mr. Kofi.
Respect.
Yeah, Mr.
All right, guys, please, everybody, let's try to double tap on the screen and share live together. If you are just coming here, Mr. Kofi Contrin is a man from the Republic of Ghana contesting as a presidential candidate to the Republic of Ghana. And we are all here to interview him, to ask him the reason why he wants to become a president of the Republic of Ghana. What changes did he want to the people and the entire Africa? If you are here, you are not mistaken, but you are here to learn and listen to something. We are here for the freedom of Africa, and we are here for the freedom to the people of Ghana. How can we get a good leader in Africa? How can we get a good leader in Africa? So we are here to interview him. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Okay, Mr. Kofi. So,
please, excuse me. Let Kaliji is to come in because he was here for a long time.
Okay, go ahead. I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Kofi.
Yes, sir.
I so much appreciate your effort to change our continent, especially our dear country, Ghana. I so much appreciate your effort. But what I want to ask, the major challenges we are having in our continent right now, it's about poverty and security. So what is your intention? What do you have for us? Hmm? How do you want to handle this security issue in the country and the poverty rates? How do you intend to help us out with this?
So your question is poverty and security, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we are poverty stricken because we are technology unexistent. Simple. If knowledge base goes up, poverty goes away. Right now, we don't even have food security because we haven't exploited our lands, our arable lands for agriculture, gains in agriculture. How are you not gonna get hungry? We could just make Africa the breadbasket for the world and make it a hub. Everything is here. We just have not had the leadership who understand that yet. So I don't even understand how poverty could be elusive to Africans. So we should be talking about everything else, but not poverty, because it should be the richest continent. It is the richest continent. We just don't have the leaders to develop it. And listen, the truth of the matter is, till we get leaders who see wealth in us, we will never be able to. It's called the lid philosophy. Okay, we're never going to be able to bounce past the lid on top of us. Okay, and the person who's created the lid is our leaders because they don't see past where we are. Okay, so poverty, listen, we take a look at Ghana. The biggest export in Ghana is gold, biggest export. We give the gold away for literally free. We give it away. Okay, so now let me ask you this. If we added value to the gold that Ghana gives away, we would have over $100 billion a year from revenues of gold. 100 billion. Burj Khalifa in Dubai, tallest building in the world, it costs $1.5 billion to build. So if we make 100 billion from gold every year, that means every year in Ghana, there are 16 regions in Ghana, we will be able to build 2 Burj Khalifas in every region. 2 in every region. Okay, and we will still be left with over $50 billion. 2 Burj Khalifas in all the 16 regions, and we'll still have $50 billion left. You see, that means our leaders are not thinking, my friend. Poverty should be a non-existent phenomenon in Africa. Why is security a challenge? Well, because it's a challenge because nobody really paid any attention to it. If you listen, my friend, as you speak to me now, you have a phone in your hand. The phone that you have, I can almost take a big guess and say that you did not make that phone, unless, of course, you have a phone factory at the basement of your house. You did not make that phone. but you speaking to me on a phone. How did you acquire that phone? Because you had money to buy that phone. So you have means to technology to speak to somebody in Ghana because you had money to buy a device called a phone. If we have the money, then we could buy the things that we need. We may not be able to manufacture everything that we need now, but for crying out loud, if we have the money to buy it, why don't we have it? This is the story of Dubai. It did not make anything. It did not understand anything, but it had money. So it bought everything and made it one of the best places in the world. We could do the same for Africa and Ghana. Simple. Do you understand me? This thing about maybe we need some people to come from space to make it possible for Africa to develop. No, it's simple decision making. We have the money. If every African did not know how to do anything at all, we could at least sell the goods that we have at the highest value add price. So a gold like this iPhone 6 sells for $66,000 in Singapore, $66,000. Okay. So that's with zero value add. If we're going to add value to this 1 kilo of gold, then maybe it would be at times 10. Okay? Because they bought it here. If you sell this gold in Ghana, it's ridiculously cheap. That's why everybody's buying gold from Ghana, especially South Africa. They're getting it cheap. So if you add value and the value is times 10, then why are we not selling the gold at a times 10 value to the rest of the world? With the money we make, we just, listen, you call China, you call Japan, you call Germany, and you designate one region in Ghana to every country. Hey, Ghanaians, hey, we don't know how to do anything, right? Okay, so let's give Greater Accra region to China. Hey, Ghanaians, we cannot do anything. Let's give Eastern region to Germany. Hey, Ghanaians, we can't do anything. Let's give Central region to the Netherlands. You give 16 regions to 16 countries of the world that are developed, and you just give them a check and say, you take 10 billion, you take 15 billion, you develop it like this, and you put it all together, and you have a first world country. How difficult is that? How difficult is that? Come on, man.
Easiest.
Yeah.
My question is
Easier
to
said than
Kofi.
done.
My
Mr.
question is
Habish,
to
please.
Kofi.
I was next.
Hey,
Mr.
one
Habish.
question to Kofi.
I was next, Mr. Habish.
Yeah,
with all
but
due
I have
respect.
one question to Kofi.
Yeah,
I
but I
want him to
was
continue.
next. You have to wait. You just got here, brother. Just hold on.
I have a question for him though.
Relax. It's my turn, bro. So, Mr. Kofi, Ghana is a sovereign country. However, Ghana does not function as a sovereign country. What plan do you have for Ghana to withdraw Ghana from the IMF debt? Secondly, youth unemployment is a ticking bomb in any nation. You see what's happening in Kenya. So what plan do you have for Ghanaian youth to provide sustainable employment that will help the Ghanaian youth? And lastly, we've seen Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali kicking out the imperialists and form a coalition. In your country, Ghana, there is a whole terminal dedicated to the United States that they use for military operation. The Ghanaian government
Ask him a question, brother. Ask him a question.
I'm asking, relax. The Ghanaian government have no control of what goes in or out of that terminal. What plan do you have to cut tie with the imperialists? Thank you. Relax, Abisha.
All right. So, listen, the IMF, the reason why IMF is in our pocket is in this country is because we depend on them. If you want to cut IMF off, then you have to be self-sufficient. How do you become self-sufficient? The first stage to self-sufficiency is to be able to feed yourself. And that's why I'm proposing this big $10 billion injection into agriculture. so that we take the produce out of the agriculture, we feed to agro-based industry, add value, feed ourselves first, and the surplus we export for foreign exchange reserve. And with that foreign exchange reserve, it does two things. As the money comes in, you pay down the debt to controllable levels, and you expand the horizontal integrations into more sophisticated industry. That's it. That's what we need to do. We don't have any other way to do this but by that way. No president can sustain Ghana.
When you're talking about we, are you talking about Ghana or Africa?
Ghana specifically, because I haven't done an analysis on every country, so I cannot say. So I'm using Ghana as a test case. You see what I'm saying?
But Ghana is not one of the biggest economies in Africa. So you using Ghana doesn't mean that it's going to change the rest of Africa.
Okay, you must have not understood me. I said I'm using Ghana as a test case because I am running for Ghana. I'm not running for Africa. I'm a president. I'm running as a president for Ghana. So I have studied what's in Ghana, and I'm telling you based on my perspective from the Ghana perspective. You see, I don't think it's that much different in all the African countries. The problem in most of the African countries is leadership. Because if you have the leadership, then you can assemble the skill set to find out exactly what your country needs and you'll be able to tackle it because they're all human problems. We created the problems. So
you think Ghana is a role model for the rest of Africa, or do you think Ghana has problems?
No, Ghana definitely has a lot of problems. Ghana has a lot of problems, but I'm saying that, listen, every country in Africa that's having problems is out of leadership. We don't want to take a look from the symptomatic points of the problem because then you don't solve anything long term. You want to look at the root cause of the problem, which is the leadership. If you have the right leadership, you will always find the problem and fix it. You see what I'm saying? So it's more of a leadership problem in the whole of Africa than anything else.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Yeah, Biketa, please excuse me. For those of you who are just coming here, with all due respect, Mr. Kofi Karantin is running as a presidential candidate in the Republic of Ghana. You all know you come on this platform, we talk about good leadership and how can we get it. And so while he's running as a president in the Republic of Ghana, we want to interview him. Any good leader in Africa or in any country is a good leader to the continent of Africa. So we are all here to question him. Everybody has the right to question Mr. Kofi Karantin.
Okay, brother African. My question is for Kofi is what kind of politics differs from the current president Adu? What's your politic?
When you say what's your politic, what do you mean? It's
like
politics.
If you want to become the president of Ghana, you're trying to run against President Adu.
Okay. And your question is, you made a statement. What's the question?
What's your politics? How does your politics differ from him?
Okay, we want a functional environment for Ghanaians to thrive. Okay, we want to start building a nation. We don't want to do things in isolation. The components for building a nation are absent in Ghana for the last 67 years. No government has been able to put together one component out of the 10 things that I talk about. The 10 things I talk about is housing, healthcare, employment, education, transportation, telecommunication, security, recreation, markets, and a functional central business district. If you do not have these things, you will not be able to develop your nation. And what the Akufo-Addo and all the other presidents of the past have done is to do things in isolation. When you do things in isolation, you don't build. You test the pulse of the people and give them what you think they want. But soon after, it becomes a thing of the past. It's not a building block. We want to build things and build it in order, in a specific order, so that it creates a foundation for everything else that we build on top of that. That's what we're talking about. That's my perspective, and that's the way I will lead Ghana. And that's totally different from what has happened in the last 67 years.
Okay, so my last question is, who is going to be your allies? Who is going to be your allies? Who is going to be your allies as if you are the current president or the party that you support as the president? Who's going to be your allies? The biggest allies is going to be which countries in the world?
Allies are going to be people who are pro-Ghana, pro-Africa, who are going to see the wisdom in what I'm doing for our people. Anybody, I don't care where you're from, if you understand what we're doing, you are an ally. If you don't, then you could sit on the sidelines and do whatever, but we don't consider you as an ally.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Mr. Kofi. How are you?
I'm well.
Hi, Mr. Kofi.
I am well, my brother.
I'm from Ethiopia, and the current situation in Ethiopia is ethnic politics problem. And how can we solve the ethnic problem and the religious based politics in Ethiopia? What's your advice?
Okay, say that again, my brother. Say that again. I missed that. You said, how can what?
How can we solve the ethnic problems, the ethnic-based politics in Ethiopia?
Okay.
Everybody knows the current situation in Ethiopia, and how can we solve the ethnic problems, ethnic politics?
Ethnic politics, more often than not, comes out of inequalities of perceived assets and wealth. Okay, inequalities. So if somebody perceives that one ethnic group is getting something more than the other, then there is a need for them to feel a certain way that this person is getting more than me. Why is that the case? I have to fight to defend that which I am deserving of. And I'll give you an example. If the same two ethnic groups go to Germany or the US or to London, they don't fight about anything. But when they go to Ethiopia, they're fighting. You know why? Because in Ethiopia, they think that somebody has more than them. One ethnic group has more than them. But when they go to London, they think the playing field is the same for everybody. So they don't fight. They see themselves as Ethiopians. So what you do as a leader is make sure that what every ethnic group has, every other ethnic group has access to. If they all feel the same way, equal, and they all know that they have equal access to everything they want to be and become for their children, for their elderly, for the adults, there'll be no fighting. And if you go back and take a look at what I'm saying, you will see that maybe one ethnic group is on a patch of land that they see more fertile than one ethnic group. One ethnic group has a grazing land and the other ethnic group doesn't have a grazing land for their cows. So it's everything. When their wealth is threatened, then the ethnicity of the politics of ethnicity comes in. When your wealth is not endangered but elevated, their husbands marry, their boys marry your girls, their girls marry your boy, and everybody's happy. So you have to, as a leader, your job is to create an environment where everybody feels that they have access to everything everybody else has, and then there will be peace. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Kofi. Mr. Kofi, good afternoon.
Prince Katie, it seems like it's time for Prince Katie.
Is it me you're talking to, Back B Keto?
No, Prince.
Okay.
Yes, hello,
Yeah.
good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is fine. Yeah, Mr. Coffee, yeah, greetings to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Putting aside, is it Ghana? Yeah, putting aside your country. So my question is about unity of Africa at large. So, sir, how are you ready to, and what are you thinking about African unity? Like uniting African, what are you thinking about putting a state for Africa, leaving aside your country that you're gonna lead?
Well, the first thing that has to happen is everything I see for Africa, I have to be able to showcase it in Ghana. So I could point to it and say, this is how we did it. You have to do at least the same for your people. You see? So I have to come and fix it for Ghana first. Once I fix it for Ghana, then I could ask all the other leaders to take a look and see how we did it and do it for themselves. Because then at that point, I take all the excuses away from them. You see? But I cannot come and say, I want to do for Africa when I haven't done for Ghana. But
Okay.
I can almost guarantee you in our first, by the end of our first administration, the whole of Africa will be looking at Ghana as a test case, as a successful test case.
Okay, then I see. Then another thing here is about our cultures as Africans. You know, as Africans, we also have our cultures. When I look here in my country, Uganda, our cultures are fading because we are resorting to the Western cultures. So, Mr. Kofi, you see, even this language that we are struggling with, the English, this isn't our language, you know? It is the Western language. So how are you thinking about promoting our cultures as Africans, because they are really fading? So what do you think about that?
Well, listen, the problem, we are really good as a people to always point fingers to something else because we don't want to take a look at us, what is causing the problem. And this is why we need a robust look to cure this problem of poverty in Africa, because it's created this narrative that is maybe something else, because we have gotten so used to living at a substandard level that we don't think it's the substandard level that our leaders have pushed us to accept about ourselves. We think it's everything else. So we blame, oh, it's a culture, oh, it's ethnicity, oh, it's our religion, oh, it's this. No. Poor thinking leaders is what has caused this thing. Because the moment you get from Africa, you get to Dubai, you don't think about these things. You get to US, New York, Chicago, you don't think about these things. But when you come home, oh, the light is off, no water. Oh, the roads are bad. Then somebody gets you upset, and now you want to get into a fight, and you find out they're on a different tribe. And oh, it's because you're a different tribe from me. And no. It's the road. You fell into a pothole and it got you upset, and somebody tried to dodge a pothole and they cut in front of you and they started an argument, and you found out that they were a different tribe, and now you've made it a tribe thing. No, it's never a tribe thing. It's bad leadership. We are not children of a lesser God. We are citizens of a poor thinking government. That's what it is.
All right, guys, with all due respect, we have spent 30 minutes over here, and he has been here all the while speaking and asking the questions to everybody. I would like if we can give him a 10-minute rest so that he can come back and then answer everybody's question. Is that okay with everybody?
Okay then. All right. Thank you.
Yes, we agree.
No. Well, listen, we could carry on. I do this all the time, so we could carry on and finish off when we
Well, look. I've got something to say here. I don't know if I
All right,
can.
excuse me, Bikecha, excuse me. So you know we can continue throughout the program, right?
Yeah. Well, when are you capping this off?
All right, I'm depending on you. We are here for you. So anytime you it's supposed to be 3 hours or 4 hours program.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah. So I would say by can we end by 10 because I need to take another call. Is that okay?
All right.
So
All right.
no breaks. Let's carry on.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, can I come in here?
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, Coffee, thank you very much. Africa needs fine minds like you. I've heard you speak about the issue of agriculture, where unfortunately we've not been able to produce our own food, and that was a very good point. My question to you is, what will be your consideration, or what is it that you are thinking when it comes to security? Because we had your president at the UN taking up a fight with the Russians, saying the Russian mercenaries are in Burkina Faso, and Ghana is a neighboring country. Basically, what we see is that Ghana has taken Burkina Faso to be an enemy country. What is it? What is your view of that? And what would you do should you become the leader of Ghana in enhancing security through our sub-region, West Africa? I'm a Gambian, by the way.
Okay, so first of all, let me just say this. Burkina Faso, they are brothers of ours. We don't think in any way that they are a threat. Like I always say, internally, maybe we haven't done some things well, but it will not be a problem of Burkina Faso because it's a sovereign nation and we are a sovereign nation. And if we need to protect ourselves, we will need to protect ourselves from the point of our borders, not from the point of somebody's country. So I wouldn't have made that statement. It's unfortunate. I wouldn't have made that statement. And I don't see Burkina anyway being an adversary to Ghana. I think we neighbors, we eat your tomatoes and vegetables all the time, and we are thankful for that. You great partners. So I would never think that of you. So that unfortunately is a statement that I will not even buy into. But the security happens to be a threat in Africa. And the reason why security is a threat more than anything else is because there's very, very high youth unemployment. That's the number one security threat to Africa. It's got nothing to do with anything else. We're not at war. Ghana is not at war with anyone. We need food to eat. We need our children to meet their aspirations. We need them to build cars and go to the moon and build spaceships and do the most incredible thing with all the incredible things with molecular science and quantum computing and all these good things. We need to provide our children with the most sophisticated next level computers in quantum computing for them to explore possibilities of a higher living. That's what we when we give the tools of the trade of higher learning to our children and keep them occupied, they will find something else to do with their energy and not get into anything that will constitute a security threat to the country. Okay, so the focus is giving our youth the things they need so that they will be able to do more with their lives and live a fuller life with themselves. And that's where my focus is as a president.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Can I go right? Anyhow, my name is I go by JB on TikTok, but my full name is John Bill, and I'm from Liberia, West Africa.
JB, excuse me. Mr. Luis was in before you, Mr. JB.
Who Luis? The team for Luis.
Yes. Luis was here before you.
Okay. Luis, go ahead.
His
Okay,
fight is money.
good evening, Mr. Kofi. I'm glad that
Good evening.
I'm glad that I'm about to engage with you, and I wish you good luck in your sitting, wanting to be a president.
Yes, sir.
I've been listening to you. You've been making more sense. So now I'm a Pan-Africanist. My focus is more on Africa as a whole. So my question is to you, Mr. Kofi. You become a president today. How do you recognize other Africans in Ghana? Secondly, the youth of Ghana. Let's make an example. I'm a youth in Ghana, and now I come to your cabinet to say, Mr. President, I have developed this kind of a project. Let me say a cell phone, but now I want to. I would like you to assist. I'd like you to assist me in growing this brand that I've came up with. How are you going to engage with the youth in that way? I'm more in the youth because the youth is the future. If we say we want to grow the economy of Ghana, we need to produce, which you mentioned there. But you speaking in a level of the government that we should cut to supply our raw materials. I agree with you. As an individual, I come to you, let's say a group of students of a certain university in Ghana has a project. They came with the researcher project. They say, Mr. President, we have this. How are you going to assist those students, and how openly are you going to be to your public, to your people, so that they can be able to get into you in asking for help?
All right. So very simple. So all other Africans, our brothers and our sisters who enjoy the same privileges. Of course, Ghanaians are citizens, but we one people, we brothers and sisters. So if you come to Ghana, you enjoy the privileges. You will just be made to respect our rules and regulations, our law and order. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, if the way our education system is going to change once I am in the leadership position, starting January 2025, the education system is going to be such that wherever you reach in the spectrum of education, higher learning, if you decide that, hey, listen, this is not your thing, you want to get out, you will go through training. So let's just say you are a barber, you are a bricklayer, you are a carpenter, anything you want to do, you will go into a special training. The special training is to make you specialized in that field, put you in a special database so that when anybody else wants that skill set for a job, they could go to that database and number. Now, if you're going into that skills, if you're going into that database to pick a carpenter to do work for you, a painter, bricklayer, then you will be paying them a certain amount that's specified by the state and not them, because they went through a training program. So in the same sense, if you get to the level, any level where you decide to come out of your educational path and you get the specialization that's required by the state, the government, what happens is once you go through the program, we will give you what we call the tools of the trade. Tools of the trade, if you are, you're a carpenter, we'll give you all the tools, your hammer, your gun, screw gun, drill gun, and all the things that you need so that when you go hit the road, you can perform. Now, we know if we make you functional, like I'm in Ghana now, if I call somebody to come fix my side door, they come and they cut a big hole on the top and on the side and water comes through. And I'm like, guy, where did you go to school? Did you not? You didn't even use a leveler to measure this thing, and I have to show him how to measure it. And I basically have to use my tools to tell him, see, these are the problems that I know many African countries, if they're experiencing, I'm experiencing it in Ghana, I know many African countries will be experiencing the same thing. They don't have the tools, professional tools. You see, so when you give somebody professional tools, then they are able, and you show them how to correctly use them, then they could do professional work and get paid professionally. And then what happens is, because you have put them on the grid, now they are not an informal worker where you don't get taxes. They become a formalized worker where you collect taxes. The taxes you collect is what's going to pay for the tools that you gave them. But you have positioned them now to work as a professional. This is what our government doesn't understand. And this is what we are going to do that's going to make us different. You see? So we will give you the tools of the trade and make you a professional so you can earn more, so we could tax and use the money to develop the nation for you. Okay, so that's what that is.
Okay, thank you. So can I
Thank you
go
so
now?
much. I have.
JB, please, JB.
Yeah, Africa. Thank you, Africa. Mr. Kofi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I already introduced myself, and I just got two questions. And one of my first question will be, like, we all know in Africa, most African, we are not employed by the government. We trade with each other, business. So I think it was 2-3 years ago, our West African ECOWAS were trying to get a one currency with open border, like free trade within West Africa, one currency. It was happening in West Africa, and that didn't work because Anglophone and English countries, something like that went on, so that didn't work. So I just want to know what will be your stand when you become president of Ghana on that. And my second question is, we all know
say that last
influence.
Say that last part again. Say that last part again.
About the trade.
You cut out on me.
Yeah,
say
the
that
last
again.
part
Say.
is when you. My last part. I said when you are president with in West Africa, we had like the one currency they were working on. West African leaders were working on, and the free trade within West Africa that didn't work. So if you are president, are you going to come bring that back that we can work on it? That was my question. And my second question is, we all know in Africa, one of our major problems within the whole Africa is Western influence into our domestic politics. So how are you going to work on that to improve that for that not to happen within Ghana? Because as you said from the initial stage, how you would work in Ghana to make Ghana better, other African countries are going to learn from that. So I just want to know how you work with that.
All right, JB, thank you. Great questions. JB, you can have an influence on trade when you don't produce anything. We can't even begin the conversation till we start producing, and producing not at the first level, at the second level, at the third level. The first level is agricultural output, adding value to agricultural output. The second level is producing things on the domestic scale, domestic level. Okay, air conditioners, refrigerators, rice cookers, deep freezer, those building materials. We can't import. We got to manufacture all those things. And then on the third level, we go into semiconductors and motherboards and all that sophisticated stuff. Then we get into something sexy, right? But the first two levels, we have to start doing that and then build the competencies to take it to another level. Once we have done that, then we could begin to talk about how we could have a free trade. You can't talk free trade. It's almost like, we're talking about who's going to drive the benzo. Hey, who's driving the benzo? We're going to a party. We got to get who's driving the benzo? Oh, no. You can't drive that fast. I'm driving. Oh, no, you drive because you don't drink. So you're going to be driving. Okay, so let's go to the party. We don't have a benzo. Nobody has a car, and we all daydreaming about who's going to drive the benzo. And one of my friends comes out and says, this actually happened. Don't tell anybody, but let's go just rent a benzo and take it to the party. Yes, the only problem is none of us have money. You know, this was my days, my student days. Okay, don't tell anybody. But so you first have to have the benzo before you can worry about who drives the benzo. We don't produce anything. If you don't produce, and 99% of your domestic market is controlled by China and other nations, you cannot worry about trade because your inflation, you don't control. Somebody else controls, but based on what they make in their market. Because you buy everything, your Forex is controlled by them. Your central banking system can control your Forex because you're not selling anything on the commodities market. What are you selling? You see what I'm saying? So you can have control over these things when you are in control. That's when you are manufacturing. So let's talk about building the competencies to go into big time manufacturing. And then we could talk about how we can do a network, do the network of all the African countries cross-trading because everybody is taking and giving to each other. So that's the first point. The second thing you talked about is Western influence. Well, I'm going through that now, Western influence. And Western influence, how does Western influence come? Western influence comes from how you fund your campaign to your election. See, right now, Kofi Kranting is not getting any funding from anybody. But the typical Ghanaian wants to see flash, wants to see Kofi Kranting. He has all the pickups well branded with my picture on there. We go into places, we're showing money, we're giving t-shirts and caps, and we're giving food items. And then the Ghanaian folder, hey, Kofi Kranting, he can win. He's a great. They don't know that you have mortgaged their lives when you put money into your campaign. So what I'm telling everybody is do not have an expectation of the candidates. Do not have an expectation of the candidates if they are ready to campaign. They have to be able to come to you just as I am. I'm going to share my ideas. If my ideas makes more sense, vote for me. Don't vote for me because I drive the best cars, I wear the best suits, I wear the nice shoes, I smell good. None of that is what's going to matter at the governor's office when I'm governing. The only thing that's going to matter is this. So if I show you this and how I'm going to solve your problem, then you vote for me. You don't vote for me based on the things that I have and the freebies that I give you, because you pay 1,000 times for it. So that's how we handle that. Next.
Thank you, Kofi.
Thank you, JD.
Addison.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Kofi. You actually make a lot of sense. But I have three questions. My first question is going to be how will your presidency ensure the economic empowerment of women and children in Ghana? That's the first one. My second question is what will be the first 6 things you're going to initiate when you become president of Ghana? That is my second question. And thirdly, does the United States have military role in Africa? That is my third question and the last. Thank you so much.
Okay, so 5 categories of people: women, infants, children, disabled, people who are mentally ill, and the elderly are all going to be in our social policy block, where if you come to Ghana now, and it's a sad state, a lot of people walking around, they are mentally ill, and we've left them on the streets. Nobody takes care of them. You know, there are a lot of people who are disabled that nobody takes care of them. There are a lot of people who are sickly and elderly. Nobody takes care of them. There are a lot of children on the streets and mothers. Some of them don't bathe for weeks. They don't have water to bathe. It's sad. And that is an indication of the level of mind of their leaders, by the way. We should never have a situation where we have people on the streets that are not taken care of, are not being fed. We should all contribute to taxes to take care of them, and that's what we're going to do. Okay. 6 things. Change the Constitution. Eradicate corruption. Institute a national development plan for the next 50 years in 4-year increments. Invest $10 billion into agriculture every year for the next 10 years. Reduce government by 70% minimum to make it functional, effective, and efficient. And then abolish ex gratia and Article 71, which are all ways that the politicians get paid. So these are the 6 things. The last thing is the U.S. military presence. There's U.S. military presence in parts of Africa. In Ghana, we know there's a military base. It's because the government is always begging. We don't have a mind that creates for ourselves because we want freebies. You go and you say, please, 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 give me vaccines. Don't you have a research center to produce vaccines? No. So they give you vaccines and what do you produce for yourself? Well, I haven't come to that realization yet that I need to produce for myself. Well, maybe you need to do that first before worrying about kicking people out. So that's what we're going to do. Produce for yourself first. Self-sustainability first. Next question.
Okay, Kofi.
Religion, please excuse me. That is going to be Lion. Humble Lion is on the floor before you.
All right, no problem. That's fine.
Hello? Hello? Can you
Go
hear
ahead,
me?
Humble.
Okay. My question here, with regards to our education, how are you going to impact the leadership role as a good leader, as the qualities of leadership role that you have now? How are you going to impact in the generation to come?
All right, good question. Well, let me tell you this. If you've ever asked me about how we're going to solve corruption, 3 things. We're going to solve corruption administratively, criminally, and psychologically. Psychologically is changing curriculums and doing everything from kindergarten all the way up. Leadership is going to be part of the curriculum from point that you are born all the way to the tertiary level. That's how we're going to change the mindset to leadership. Loyalty to country. You see? So the moment you are born, part of the curriculum you go through from kindergarten is understanding your identity as an African and your commitment to your country. You see? So that never leaves you. Every institution in Ghana will have that as part of their curriculum, or you cannot be an institution in Ghana. Plain and simple. So that's it.
Is it my turn now? African
Religion.
Unite. Yes. Is it my
The
turn?
time is now. Yes,
Okay.
please, it's your turn now.
Okay, Kofi. I've listened to you, I think just a short bit, but can you tell us your short-term development goals and then long-term development goals? The reason why I'm saying this is because people are listening to you, especially people who are academicians, people who are been doing a lot for Ghana, in all sectors of the country. Because I believe that the people who are developing Ghana is not the politician, is those who live overseas, those who are working so hard in Ghana, because those who are producing the cocoa, the coffee, and everything in Ghana is the local. The locals are the one working hard to keep Ghana afloat. They produce 70% of the world's cocoa. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire alone produces 70% of the world's cocoa. It is not the politician or the children that are producing this cocoa to keep Ghana afloat, to bring in the foreign exchange. No, it is the locals. You understand? So I want to hear what really you have for the short-term developmental goals you have for Ghana, and then the long-term developmental goal, because I totally believe that when it comes to the NDC and the MPP, they are a total rip-off. They are total, they are just manipulating the country, looting to fill their own pockets and forgetting the hard-working people who are the ones keeping Ghana afloat. You understand? Because how
are your short-term developmental goals and the long? How do you cut down the looting? Let me tell you, God, in New York alone, we have only two people who takes care of New York. How do you call it? The mayor, and then the governor, and everybody else is a civil servant. You understand what I'm saying? But Ghana, so much rot, so much loot, ministers, MPs, nonsense. It's a disgrace to all of us working hard to support Ghana. You understand? So go ahead.
All right. So I understand you're passionate, but Ghana has 16 regions, and the ministers are not up to 400 years. Okay? The ministers are less than 100. So I just want to correct that. Not to justify the number of ministers for 33 million. I still think we are proposing 10 ministers for Ghana. So that's as far as that. But as far as the short-term goals, we need to plug the leak. Plug the leak. There's too much noise in the background. Guys, put your phones on mute. Chris, put your phone on mute.
Okay.
All right. So we need to stabilize the system. Right now, the system is out of whack, and stabilizing it means we have to. Chris, put your phone on mute, man. Thank you. Okay, good. So everybody's on mute. So we need to stabilize the system. So in the short term is we want to come in and bring it to the right altitude. And that means we need to do a couple of things. We need to reduce government. The size of government is too huge, like you're correctly saying. Okay, we need to reduce government by 70% plus. We're going to bring 275 parliamentarians to 20 because we're using artificial general intelligence to re-script the whole of Ghana into a national development plan and build Ghana out. So we wouldn't need parliamentarians to go to parliament and tell parliament what the Ghanaians need, because we've already scripted it out through artificial intelligence, okay? So that's what we need to do, and cut down on the spending that goes to the ministers and the people of the appointees of the state. Way too much. They enjoy perks like free V8s and free petrol, free bungalows, and free. We're gonna cut all of that. All of that we're gonna cut, and then we're gonna cut also the different boards. Every institution has a board, and it's a way that people make money because they have multiple boards for. You could have one institution, one company that has 2 or 3 boards. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. So all of that we're gonna flush. We're gonna flush out. So in terms of short term, the short term is we need to cut out of all the non-essential projects that Ghana is involved in, because we need to pay our debts. Our debts right now is actually 840 billion cedis. Okay, that's a lot of money. So we need to and find income coming in through agriculture. So pay down debt and have income coming in, so that we don't have this vicious cycle of going back to the IMF and World Bank for money, because that's when the control issues come in. They give you the money, but they will tell you exactly how to spend it. And the way they tell you how to spend is pushing your people's heads underwater, you see? So that short-term goal, and also making sure that we eradicate corruption, which also is a big leak under the bucket. In stabilizing incomes, we need to do that. And putting our children to work, which is the way we deal with agriculture. And the long term is bringing incomes in. When you have jobs and people are making money, there's more money in the system. People spend because they could buy quality things, eat well, bring energies up, and that's the cycle that we're going into between the short and the long term. And then build, like I said, the 10 things I talked about, which is the housing, healthcare, employment, education, telecommunication, transportation, security, recreation, markets, and the functional central business district. Put these things in place, in a spectrum. That's the long term. So that's the short term and long term.
Yeah. Nice. Copy. Hello, copy. All right, voter time. Please, you can go on. Voter time.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I have a question. I want to know the general plan for the Volta region because in terms of works and jobs and all that, Volta region is lagging behind. So I want to know his plan for us as Voltarians.
Excellent. Volta is a very special place. When I visited there when they had the floods, I was blown away by the beauty. Put your phone on mute. Put your phone on mute. Put your phone on mute. I visited Volta.
Who is that? Who is that? Who is the one talking? Who is talking? Who is the person talking?
I actually, maybe it might be the network because all right, so that's my question.
We cannot hear you, so please go and come back.
There is a question. There is a question on the floor.
There is a question on the floor already, so please wait a while. We'll start with your question.
All right.
So Volta asked a question, what are my plans for Volta region? And I was telling him that when we visited the Volta, when they had the floods, I got to find out how beautiful Volta was. Volta is incredibly beautiful, and the governments of NDC and MPP have neglected it. I hope the people of the Volta will come to that realization and kick them out. But what we are going to do, like we will do for every other region, you see, the way we are going to build is not in isolation. We are going to build everything that it's in the capital region in every other region, so that everybody in every region would have access to everything that everybody else has. You see? So if Volta has been deprived for the last 15, 20 years, we will bring it up to standard by giving it the newest of projects and the sophistication of a developed environment and housing and jobs, businesses, and so forth. Because you see, when you do that, you sustain populations. People don't move from the less concentrated areas to the high job areas, and they concentrate the place, and then you have all sorts of problems. So that's why it's not like, are you going to do something special for the Volta? No, we're going to do something special for every region in Ghana, which is everything we do in every region, we're going to have in every other region, so that everybody else, regardless of what region you are in, you can enjoy the same benefits.
All right. GHL Media. GHL Media.
Hi, Mr. Krante. Good evening.
Good evening.
I know you don't know who's talking, but it's okay. Anyway, my quick question to you. My biggest question is this. when they come in power, what are you going to do with the ministers? I mean, the MPP party, who have looting the money, hoarding them in their houses and stuff? Are they going to be held accountable for all those things?
Yes. Yes, they are. We would take our money and prosecute.
My next question about the landscape in Ghana. Our landscape is kind of a little bit weird, whereby one land can be sold to like 20 people, and it has tend to in terms of how do you call it? These people, land guard and land guard and all those things. What are some of the solutions? What are some of the things that can be put in place to make our land become peaceful for one person? Whoever buy the land from the chiefs can be peaceful in the country. And the next question of the Galamsey, what are you going to do about the Galamsey too?
Okay, so lands are very simple to fix. The problem with lands are very simple. Okay, every patch of land in Ghana, it's on a grid. It has a lot number. So if I want you to think about this, if the lot number is on a computer, the moment you process the paperwork for the sale of that land, on the computer, that piece of land grays out. If you click on it, you don't get a response. Think about this. You click on it, it opens up and says, lot number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, AB belongs to Mr. Krensel. Mr. Krensel wants to sell it to this gentleman from Dubai who's coming to Ghana. Mr. Krensel goes to the local lands department and says, I want to send my land 1, 2, 3, 4 AB to this gentleman from Dubai. They said, okay, according to what's on record, your land, your taxes due for this land is 15,000 cedis. You pay the 15,000 cedis, you get a piece of paper, that is the bill of sale. Now, when you transact the business with the person and they pay monies to you for the sale of the land, you give the paper to that person goes back to the registrar office to register the land. They click on that piece of land on the computer, it opens up and says, that land has been sold to gentleman X from Dubai. They take a look at your paper and says, oh, you have the paper that says you're the new owner. They enter that piece of paper that only them can generate in the computer with the access code, and it opens up that piece of land and puts your name on there. That transfer of ownership has come to you. You pay your fees in registering the land in your name, and you get that new printout that you are the new owner. Now, so long as you have that paper, nobody else can gain access to that piece of land without that paper. How is that difficult? If you want to sell it, you take it back to that office, and the same process that predecessor went through to generate that piece of paper that they gave to you, they do it. You can only get one piece of paper generated on that patch of land at one time. So how can you sell that piece of paper to 10 people? It beats me. You should never be able to do it because a computer can only generate one ownership document per piece of land at any one time. How do you sell your land to 4 people, 5 people? I don't know. How can this be difficult? It isn't. Very simple. They have just bypassed the system and sold it to themselves because they could get away with it. Now, word of caution, in Kofi Kranting's administration, if you generate a false document and you sell a piece of land, number one, it has a look back period of how many ever years. Unexpirable look-back period. We know what an unexpirable look-back period is. If you sold the land to someone for 100 years and they're able to find that you erroneously sold the land illegally, we will reclaim it and we will take everything back. Now, anybody sells that piece of land without the right paperwork, it's a mandatory 10 years in jail. You won't go to court. We're going to make it a law. You sell a piece of land and you don't generate the right paperwork from the lands department to designate the right ownership on that piece of paper, mandatory 10 years in jail plus fines. Now, if that's not good enough for you, well, go give it a shot and we will show you. You're going to be in jail for 10 years.
All right. Hello. This is my question on the land, the land issue. As a young man in the Republic of Ghana and in the continent as a whole, I am thinking that if Africans, or as you becoming the president of the Republic of Ghana, if we can lease the land to people, to foreigners, and not to sell the land to foreigners. So maybe someone is coming from Dubai or someone is coming from Japan, from any other parts of their continent, and they want to come and build a house or whatever they want to do in Ghana, we should release the land to them, but not to sell the land, because the selling the land of foreigners has becoming much in the land in the continent. And I can see Lebanese, I can see Chinese, I can see the Turkish who are buying millions of acres of our land. So within some years to come, according to how people are selling lands in Africa to foreigners, are we still going to have land in the Republic of Ghana?
All right.
So is there any policy that you are going to give that if we can lease the land to the people, but not to sell to them?
So Africa Unite, that was the first part of the puzzle. You didn't ask me about the second part of the puzzle, which means only Ghanaians can buy and own land. If you're not a Ghanaian, you cannot buy or own land. You can use it for 49.9 years and turn it back, but you can't own it. Okay, and plus, there are going to be very specific designated areas for specific development by which you sell your land. So in the city areas and designated areas, you could buy any land you want if you're a Ghanaian. But there are building guidelines, which means if you buy in certain areas, you should be willing to put up a building 50 stories or higher, or you cannot own that land. So you could own the land, but you can't do anything with it unless you can build 50 stories or higher. So if you cannot build 50 stories or higher, then maybe you have to sell it to the government. Now, if you sell it to the government and the government builds, they will give you part of that building block for your own use, you see? So if your land were, say, something you could have built a 2-story building with 5 rooms, 6 rooms, we will give you that same amount in the building that we build, but you cannot build a 2-story building there. It's a waste of land.
Okay, Kofi.
Okay, quick question. What about the Galamsey
I
issue?
just want to follow up with the land issue.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Put your phones on mute. Put your phones on mute. The Galamsey issue is a very simple issue. Very simple to deal with. Reason why it is simple is the government is who does Galamsey in Ghana. Don't let anybody lie to you. It's the government officials. Now, every excavator that digs the earth for gold comes through Tema Port, the port. The excavators are not dropped from heaven in the middle of the night. They come through the port. So when they come through the port, you have to put a tracker on them. When you put a tracker on them, everything that an excavator does to the earth, you could track on the tracker. It's a device. If you cut it, the engine stops. And we know at the central office that you have cut your tracker. And when you cut it, you lose your license to do anything with that excavator. So if you want to cut it, go be my guest. That will be the last time you did anything to do with galamsey. Plus, first of all, that galamsey, now that is a recommendation I'm giving to the governments. Now, when we come in, it's going to be a totally different system because we don't want people to mutilate the land. It's going to be an activity engagement with only the government. The reason why everybody is digging is because they don't have jobs. We're going to give them jobs. And when they're not able to go into jobs right away, we're going to pay them. We're going to give them food checks, food stamps like they do in the US. We're going to give the women and the infants and the children monies to feed on when they hit or they fall below poverty level, so they don't find a need that they have to dig for their survival. Okay. But we're not going to let anybody just dig around. That's chaos. They mutilate the land, they pollute our waters, and it's the government who does it, the government officials who does it. It's not anybody who does it. The people who do it have to be able to afford $150,000, $200,000 excavator. The ordinary people can afford that. Where they getting $200,000 for an excavator from? People at the top, that's who have the money. So don't believe the hype. Next question.
Hi, Kofi. I'm so happy that you really know about the galamsey because there's nowhere that you can move to China today. Any Ghanaian can go to China today and do galamsey. It's impossible. You can't go and do galamsey in China. Whilst Chinese are in Ghana polluting our water bodies, causing so much problems in our communities. It's a shame anyway. I believe that galamsey has to be banned because if it's banned, then you can institutionalize companies or you can, mandate companies to go into mining. Even if it's small scale, they would come under an umbrella of, a Department of Mining and whatsoever that has a body that controls the activities, tracks the activities and all that. But Kofi, Ghana has is good in at least produces average oil. Okay. Ghana produces cocoa. What we should be doing is leveraging on what we have so we can get the youth engaged. We should, Ghana produces a substantive amount of cocoa. We should be building factories that would transform the cocoa sector, increase the processing of cocoa. So the youth, religion,
religion. Please, with all due respect, with the time factor, let us ask the questions, okay?
Yeah, I'm asking questions, but Kofi, it's a dialogue, AfricaUnitedConcern.
I know that. But
I'm just 1 minute. I won't go with you beyond 1 minute. Okay. And so in the short term, I would expect that, okay, within the next, because presidency taking charge in government is within a time frame for 4 years. 4 years is very little, you understand? So the things that you have to do has to be very pragmatic. In the next 4 years, okay, we'll build two cocoa processing factories that would help the cocoa sector. We'll build 2 mining refineries that will help the mining sector. So we can, instead of sending raw materials overseas that has lower value, we can add value to our resources. That's what I want to expect. I want to hear. Look, because I know the Ghana's economy very well. I used to work for Cocoa Board. I used to be a director in the Cocoa Board. and I know exactly what happens in the cocoa board. The money drain alone in cocoa board is deplorable. But you need government policy to be able to get things done. And remember, majority rules the country. When you still have NDC holding, all the 70% of ministerial positions, and or MPP having majority of the ministerial position, how would you be able to carry out policy initiatives to be able to get things, pragmatic things done, things that can change the country?
All right. Well, listen, like I said, it's very simple. When you have a corrupt government who has corrupt members, then that's the result of a corrupt administration. You see, so because for things to work, first you have to have somebody who understands the system, comes in and, number one, cuts out all the slack, puts in systems that controls functions, and then locks it up. So when they are not there, the system can carry on. Right now, nobody has done that job in 67 years. So the system is going to go backwards because everything in Ghana is run by personality. It's not run by a system. So what I am coming in to do with my systems background and education and specialization is we're going to change from a personality-based economy to a systems-based economy. Total different paradigm. So that things that you worry about right now, that you stressed about, will cease to happen. It's so simple. Okay? If you don't understand, you say, oh, Kofi, it's easier said than done. Well, I understand because you don't understand. But that's what I do. And that's why I know it's possible, because if it weren't, then other nations will not be producing at a high functionality level and we at a low level of everything. It's the same people, okay? And to even make it even worse, if you take Ghanaians who are non-producing in Ghana, you bring them abroad into a system that is well organized, they're all exceptions in their field of work. Why? Because they have systems that guide them to a specific expectation. That's what it is. That's what we don't have. That's what Kofi Granting is bringing. Next question.
Nick is the one who is going to ask.
Hello, how are you? Thank you
My
for
turn, bro. It's my
letting
turn,
me
bro.
speak. And I have
Africa
a question
United,
for
it's my
you.
turn.
Generally, do you believe in God?
Do I believe in what?
Rich,
In God.
Rich, with all due respect, let
Africa
him finish
United,
the
please
comment.
meet
I'm
yourself.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Nick, please meet yourself, please. Thank you. Mr. Kofi, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate. Yeah, I want to say something, but I want to explain and then give some three questions.
The 10 factor, rich man.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Today, my message is I've regretted going to school in Ghana. I remember when I was in the level 400, that was when I came to realization that, so all these things that I've learned, what can I do after school? What can I do? Practically, what can I use my hands to do? Because I got to realize that the school that I've wasted my 4 years, and however, I was not getting support after school, like maybe when we are on vacation or I have to go and do some galamsey menial jobs to support myself, pay my fees and all that. After that 4 years, what am I going to do? So I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed after school. I couldn't get anything until God make a way for me to travel. You understand? So I think this Ghana, we have been brainwashed, and then in the olden times we saw people were carpenters, masons, blacksmiths, and all that. Those people were making good money. However, in terms of this kind of hardship, if you have that kind of handiwork, you could have made something or make more money. You understand? But here is the case that it's not like that. So those people that have wasted that time, is government supposed to compensate them or what? Like that's what I want to. I'm just asking this question. After that, I'll answer the rest of the question. Because they told us we should go to school. We've wasted our time going to school, and we came from school. We've been home for 6-7 years. 6-7 years. We need compensation because they have wasted our time.
Oh gosh, you
by the way.
Is it the government who asked you to go to school?
They've brainwashed us, because sometimes, see, when you love a woman and you even go and approach the woman, you are a carpenter, they will say, you are dating this carpenter. Look at this dating mechanics. Look at you see that this kind of brainwash. Right now we have come to realization that it's a deceitful ideas. You understand? And then my second point is,
listen, Africa United will answer that for you.
Africa United, on the more serious note, we need compensation, honestly, because it's time wasting.
It's how we define education system in Africa is the problem. How we define education system. We define education system is only academical curriculum, and that is how we understand
theoretical,
yeah, in Africa. So we don't do practicals, and we always do theory from crèche to university. And people are learning and learning and learning and learning. After school, you have nothing to do. This our free SHS school supposed to be having a carpenters, a factory designers, and masonry plumbers in the school.
Yes.
So that immediately after secondary school, you already have your handwork. That you can be able to become a carpenter, you can be able to become a mason, you can be able to become a designer. But we go to the secondary school as a free education, we learn nothing. We still go and learn theory and come back home and sit down without job.
Yes. My second point, Mr. Kofi, my second point is, right now we have old roads that has been killing a lot of people, and today some people had accident, Accra or something. I read the news and I saw it. Wow. You see, and for the explanation of the those witnesses, they were saying that the driver was overspeeding. My question is, how did you articulate that this person is overspeeding? What instrument did you use to measure the kind of speed the person is going? You understand? What are the road measures, the road signs? We don't have anything like that in place. So this recently, the wind has accident and he killed some small boy, and they were accusing him of overspeeding. You can't accuse someone by your own imagination. You can accuse someone by using a tool or something, but we don't have these things, and we still accuse people, blaming innocent people for, because this accident, even if it is the driver's fault, you can't hold the driver accountable for what he has caused or whatever he has done. You can't hold him accountable. We don't have system in place. And second one is the police on the road. We pay taxes for the government to pay the police. And when the police come on road, they will stop all cars, all vehicles, take 2 cedis, 5 cedis. Sometimes they even demand for their price. Give me 10 cedis, 20 cedis before you go, because you don't have this, you don't have that. I don't understand. We have to just face the law. If I've broken the law, take me to the station. Why are you taking me money from me again? If you do that, then that means our taxes are not being paid to the police officers, because we pay taxes for them to pay services to us. Right now, it seems we are paying services to them.
That's true. Listen,
so that's a question. So please, can you say something about it?
All right. So in terms of listen, our roads are outdated. Okay, we don't have the right road markings. We don't have road signs. We don't have dividers. And we basically on single roads. Where the moment you're on single roads, you double or triple your accident rate. So if there is a driver that goes out of the way, maybe they sleeping, maybe they over anticipated and made and overtook someone, you get into an accident. So the easiest and the simplest way to avoid a vehicular accident, number one, is to create multiple lanes and to alert people when they're speeding. So you have sensors on the road. When somebody passes a sensor and they're speeding at 70 miles per hour, the sensor shoots them maybe a mile on the highway before the car gets to the sensor. And there is a sign that says you are traveling at 75 miles per hour, so that they can bring their speed down, or their camera, the shot is taken of them and they get a ticket in the mail. You could very easily put cameras on a highway, but we don't have the infrastructure. You see,
Mr. Kofi, IGP Dampare has put in a lot of cameras in some vintage places and all that. I'm not seeing the function of those cameras.
Yeah, because most of the cameras don't have roll film in it.
Jesus Christ, this country.
So
they just waste of money. They just wasted our money putting this thing there for function.
Obi contract I say on roll. Somebody got a contract. Somebody got a contract to build, put the installation of the cameras. So they put the poles, they put the camera, but it doesn't have roll film. Most of them don't.
Yeah.
So camera there.
That is the gospel fact. That is a contract for somebody. And so they take the contract because they need the money, but they have not fixed the rear cameras into it. I have a camera just at the back of my house, and they have been stealing people every day. When you go to the office, they will tell you that go and come, and they will never see any single thing that happened in the camera. So because it has been given to somebody as a contract, and we are living in a country that nobody is thinking about the country. So a means of way that people will get money is what they are all looking for. A traffic light is someone's contract.
Yeah. And the traffic lights, Africa United, the traffic lights, I stopped the police officer and I said, you are always here. Your job as a police officer is not to direct traffic.
No,
unless it's
protect the people.
He says, listen, the people who are supposed to be working the traffic lights, they did not get paid, so they turned the traffic lights off. Listen, everywhere in Accra, most places don't have traffic lights because they don't pay them. So they also turn it off.
Yeah, Mr. Kofi, you know what? The narrow roads and one-way road, I don't think that one is a problem, even though it's a problem. But today, I travel from Nottingham to Sheffield. Yeah, Sheffield is a village. It's a village, and the road is very, very narrow, very, very narrow. But you could see road signs, warning signs on the road. It's not
Mr.
even
Rich,
a post or
Mr. Rich,
written it on the road.
Please, our time factor.
Yeah. I'll just finish with this. Yeah, finish with this point. You could see they've written a lot of signs on the road. It's not even on signposts. They've written it on the road itself. So the moment you are going, the thing is telling you, take this and don't overtake. Here is narrow. There's a bridge here. This it's written on the road. So you could see that. You see.
I told you, road signs are important because they're reminders, sensors. We don't have any of those. So now driving on one lane takes the risk factor, blows it out of the roof. You understand what I'm saying? When you have all the road signs and everything in an environment where most of their roads are double and triple and they have signs all the time, what it does is it acclimates the mind to an expectation of how safe to drive. It becomes part of your nature. When you drive in Ghana, it becomes part of your nature to not even expect any road sign. Listen, when I drive, I come home, I feel tired. You know why I feel tired? Because I think I'm doing algebra all the time. I'm using my brain like 100 miles per hour because you have to calculate this pothole. If you miss this pothole, your car is going to go into this ditch or fall in this gutter. So you have to like cringe and go into the pothole, and then it's like, because if you drive past the pothole, you go into the gutter. I'm telling you, man, this is pure negotiation skills on the road of Ghana. You're negotiating with potholes and not hitting other cars, and then the people, there are no sidewalks, so the people walk in the street. The other day, I drove right into the bush. And I was like, how did I drive into a bush? Well, because the bush was like 7 feet up in the sky, and I was driving like this. You know why? Because somebody was carrying a big pile of hay on their head, and it was dark, and I didn't see. Because I'm looking on the road like this. All I had was bang, it hit my window. I got out. The guy was carrying a bale like 2 cars on his head. This is the fate of an African. The guy was carrying a bale like 2 cars. So, you know, the bale, and I asked him, what are you using the bale for? I thought he was going to go feed some cows. He says, no, he makes mattresses from the hay, the grass. So he takes the grass, he cuts it, he goes and dries it. And when it's dry, he sews a mattress out of it, and that's how he feeds his family. So I kind of felt bad that I hit his hay on his head, and I gave him some money, you know? I mean, he didn't get hurt. I just hit the hay because half of the hay was in the road and half was out of the road, and his body was, thank God, was out of the road. So it's crazy, but this is the fate of an African. Next.
All right. Aqua Obadia. Obodia. Is it Obodia? Aqua Obodia.
Aqua Obodai.
Obodai, all right. Obodai.
Comrade, good evening.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Comrade, this evening, my question goes back to the unemployment. Let me set myself an example. I did technical at the secondary level. After secondary school, I learned the masonry work as an apprentice for 3 years. I went to the Polytechnic to learn building technology. After school, I have to stay at home unemployed. It is up to me to find one mason or foreman to follow to get a daily mark. I know there are a lot of people on the street suffering or going through what I'm going through. The government always promise a job for the skilled trained people.
Mr. Bodai, with
Yes.
due respect, if everybody wants to narrate whatever,
I'm done with that. I'm done with that.
Excuse me. If it is about unemployment, you just ask the question. So, Mr. Kofi, when you become a president, what can you do now about unemployment so that we can fix the time frame with your due respect?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just narrated that to indicate that it is not only the people out in the street who are not, it's not almost everybody who is not having skills. Like for me, for instance, I'm a mason. I did building technology. So my question is, successive government have been promising job to graduate. After school, all that you will see is there is no job anywhere. About 200,000 engineers are trained every year, but still we have to employ people from outside the country to come and do our construction and other stuff. What different measures are you going to implement if you are voted to be the president tomorrow?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for a great question. Very simple. Like I told you, the first level is to take the output, invest into agriculture, and take the output from agriculture and feed the agro-based industries. Now, listen to this. Agriculture, our drone-controlled mechanized farming is going to have like 15 different departments, like research and development, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, freight, transportation, food processing, nurseries, seed banks, banking, real estate, engineering. We're going to have 15 different sectors. So in every sector, we're going to employ a lot of people, youth from the streets, okay? And then once we add value to the produce and send abroad and get some foreign exchange reserves, we're going to expand the horizontal integration to more sophisticated thing, which is the domestic market. And we're going to produce the refrigerators, the fans, air conditioner, rice cookers, irons, and so forth. And then building materials, and that's going to further employ more people. So when the person graduates from school, they're going into the industry that is going to be creating the housing. Housing is huge, huge. Millions upon millions need housing in Ghana. And when we talk housing, it has peripheral businesses. Okay, I'll give you an example. When you start building a building complex that will house over 500,000 to 1 million people, you're not only going to need plumbers and carpenters and electricians and sweepers and cleaners and bricklayers and carpenters. And you're gonna get people who sell eba, wachi, rice water in the morning for the workers, water, everything. You see, so you create a whole industry from creating industry. You see, so that's how jobs are created, people make money and they invest it back into the economy. And that cycle, it's ever going, because not only are we going to be addressing housing, we're going to address healthcare that's going to produce more healthcare workers, doctors and nurses and physicians assistants and anesthesiologists, and it goes on and on and on. And then we're going to go into employment. Once we go into the employment, consultants and different types of employment, then we'll go into education with the academia, teachers, and so forth. Then we go into security, then we go into telecommunications, telcos, and it goes on and on and on. Remember, we have a national development plan that addresses 10 things. And the 10 things are going to totally absorb all the unemployment on the street. We're going to need people to come into Ghana to work. That's the reality. So that's how we're going to deal with this unemployment situation. Aqua. Next question.
All right, Royal Crew. Royal Crew is the next person.
Yo, Kofi, this is your uncle, Prince Charles, greeting you from US. I miss you here, but I know you are doing. I know you are doing a great job over there, so I can't complain. My question to you is about our Ghana resources, which has been sold. We have cocoa, we have timber, we have gold, we have diamonds, we have bauxite, we have even stone quarry. All these resources have been sold to the foreigners and with contract basis. Is there any way when you become a president, you can renegotiate with them so that Ghana will gain the more benefit of our own resources instead of them getting the resources, the profit on? That's my question.
Absolutely. We're going to go back and renegotiate pretty much everything. And plus, you know, this is what I always tell my beautiful people of Ghana. When a leadership or a government has a has a strategy based on the selling of or the procuring of resources, remember that resources are finite. If your game plan is on resources, what happens when the resources run out? Then what you do? So you build an economy not on resources, you build an economy on human capital, technology. That's how you build you see, you add value to the things that are renewable. Cocoa is renewable because you grow, you cut, you grow, you cut, you grow, you cut from the same patch of land. Cassava is renewable. There is so much we could get from cassava. I believe cassava is more valuable than chocolate. You know why? Because for the same time you could grow cocoa and get the beans, you can harvest like more than 8 times cassava. 8 times the same amount of cassava. So the same land that you grow cocoa, it takes what, 7 years for the pods to be fully mature, right? 7 years, right?
Yes.
How long does it take cassava to be mature? 6 months. Three to 6.
6 months.
Okay, so 6 months. So in every year, you get 2 yields from cassava. Okay.
Yeah.
2 yields for cassava, so you get 14 yields from cassava. That's that which you get cocoa. Cocoa is a very what's the word I'm looking for? No, my mother used to like that word.
Time consuming.
Not only time consuming, but cocoa, you have to court cocoa. You have to court it. If the little sliding temperature, it goes bad. Cassava, you just put a stick in the earth. 6 months later, you get tubers. You see?
You mean cocoa? We spend time to take care of it before we can get the program to market.
Exactly. Cocoa is, man, I forgot the word I want to use. But anyhow, cassava is a straight up, you plant, you don't do anything to it. You come back 6 months, it's ready. You pull, get the tubers, you wash it. You get sorbitol. You get ethanol. You get starch. You get so many things from it. So I would rather us put energy into the renewables: cassava, peppers, corn, cashew, almonds, millet. Millet is an incredible grain that we can do so much with millet because of the pure protein that it gives. With child meals, children's meals, and health protein powders and all these things. We don't develop these things, and we sit there and we worry about cocoa. Coffee. Jamaican Mountain Coffee sells for $95 a pound in New York. Jamaican Mountain Coffee. I don't even know if we've even made an attempt to plant Jamaican Mountain Coffee in Ghana. We may even get better yields. We don't even worry about that. Why don't we plant grapes? Grapes, so we could have the best champagne. How much a bottle of champagne? $300, $400, $500. Dom Perignon or Pierre Clicquot, or all those expensive champagnes. Why don't we get the grapes in Ghana? The whole of the north could be grapes, vineyards. Plant it, get grapes, and you know how much money we could get from that? We have people just sitting there. I am hungry. Let's go back the IMF, because we don't have a thinking leadership who can have a real and the research and development into these foods. So I am not big on the natural resources because it mutilates the lands, it spoils our water, it poisons our foods. I am big on renewables, the cassava, the cocoa, the peppers, everything else, corn, millet, barley, sorghum. Let's do those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Kofi. God bless you.
Thank you, Uncle. Love you, man.
Love you too.
All right. Our next person is going to be Moscow's. But guys, with all due respect, on a serious note, you are not trying to support the program so that we can be able to get some data to make the program very interesting. You are not trying to support the program. Let's try to support the program so that we can get opportunity for everybody. All right, so Moscow, you are the one who is going to speak now. Richie, please, you just came in. You wait for a while.
Hello, and thank you for having me up. Right. And to the U.S. side, man, you are the one You are the one knowing the structure and system, what need to bring the whole continent up by your action. By me being listening to you, I think you is the leader, what they need to bring them by your structure, how you want to handle it. But if you can get other tribal leaders or presidents, because I see by learning from y'all all the different peoples, I didn't know our history don't teach us about that over here. Our history teach us about Africa is the richest. Y'all are the richest. Y'all are the bank. But why y'all not using y'all resources like you're saying to make a product or agriculture to enhance, to sell to the U.S.? That's why everyone, and I'm so hurt by me hearing that they don't bought that much land up. And me and my friend, we was talking to say, hey, they don't bought that much. They don't stop them now. They're going to be over all of it, and then they're going to change their name. It's not going to be Africa anymore. You feel what I'm saying? But I understand how you say the building structure, you got to build this type of building, and that's a hinder a lot of people, especially when you don't have the mind frame of running a building mass of the amount of people, But you keep going, man. You keep going, man. You are it. You are it.
More power to you. Thank you. Hey, Africa, it's 10 o'clock.
Kofi, before I leave, before I drop, one last thing before I drop. I wanted to find out a little bit about what do you think about the free ports? Because I think when the basis of demand and supply, and if we open up the ports and we allow businessmen and all of us, especially overseas, to invest and bring in goods and services, there will be enough for everybody to consume. Mm-hmm. Because the government is not doing that. It's very disheartening that even if you get you want to send a small vehicle even from here for your old mother to use for him to be able to take her to the hospital, just mobility, you have to pay so much at the port, just for clearing, if a car that even costs, just $10,000 here in America, used car, you're going to spend almost like the same $10,000 in clearing, and then before you pay other things, and you'll be spending more than even what's the cost of the car. It's annoying, very much annoying. So I want to see, even for me, I am into hospital materials, and even if we want to send medical materials to even Ghana, you have to pay so much. You're going to help people down there, and you're paying so much for even healthcare material. Look, and the hospitals need a lot of supplies to be able to get things done. It's sad. It's so sad. So Kofi, these are some of the real issues that need to be dealt with. Ghana, as I said, Ghana is a small country. Yeah, from Kaswa to Tema to to Medina. That's all Ghana. That's all the capital. And yet still even we don't even have good roads. It's disheartening, Yet still you have all these. Ghana produces oil, cocoa, diamond, bauxite. And then we still begging IMF and they're begging the developed world for freebies. So you realize that it's just a looting mechanism for these two political parties. Damn right. The people are suffering. Look, people are suffering. And these political parties, they don't give excuse my language, they don't give a shit about the people. They don't give a damn about people. Our village women, our people in the villages, they shouldn't be, at least they are producing the food stuff. You know, the roads are so bad. It's a problem, a major problem. So, Kofi, you definitely, you're young, just like me, my age. I would love to also come into politics, but politics has become so dirty, so so much power mongering, kind of people use all these insults. They've deteriorated politics to the level of the level where insults and all the deplorable level that it's
Religion.
even if you wish well. Africa, I'm coming 1 minute. Even if you wish well, I'm almost there. I'm done. Even if you wish well for the country and you want to help, how can you bring back a level playing field? That because people feel that because they are bringing so much money to campaign for, to run elections, it is their legitimate right when they grab power. Is their legitimate, or is their time to loot? You understand? Because how do you bring back a level playing field for everybody, so people will be you would have the confidence and would wish to come just to help for no reason? You understand what I'm saying?
I understand, but religion, regardless of how much money somebody puts to campaigning, ultimately it's your responsibility to vote for them or not. And that's why I am here to tell you that the first question you should be asking before you make an attempt to vote for someone is to ask where their support for their campaign is coming from, because that is what determines how their presidency will be and how much looting will go on when they come into power. So young Ghanaians, beware. When a person is showing you flash and giving you gifts and having an extravagant campaign, remember, you're going to be paying for the rest of your life for it. That's why I am here as an alternative, because I just make sense. And you vote based on principle, not based on what somebody gives you. Thank you.
All right, last question. Richie.
Hello, I'll first of all say thank you to the host, KK, as yourself, and Kofi Cranton. I have just a few questions. I'll make it quick because I think you guys spent more time. Look, I have been in the country for so long before I came to the United States, and there is a lot of things I've seen here, and I think we are doing things wrong. I'm not going to blame the citizens, because in our own tree language, they have a saying that say, if you understand what I'm saying. I will ask KK, if you are going to try hard and implement something like a blueprint for any leader who comes to power to follow it to build a country. As in the way we go to school, they teach us to do project work, right? There should be a blueprint for projects. When you come on power, you know you are supposed to do this, get this done. Unlike this party A comes and start building a bridge in Takrady and lose power, and party B comes and said, if I finish this bridge, they are going to say they started it, so I'll go and build one in Chintampo. It's stupid. We're wasting money and resources. That is one problem we are facing in that country. And then if we have those check and balances for us to finish projects being initiated by someone, see, irrespective of who started it, if you partake in it, you should get the credit. I think our leaders should start learning from our forefathers. They used to say, good name is better than riches. Fine, we all want money, but they are being selfish and killing the less privileged ones. Look, I came to the United States with the same certificates I got in Ghana. And trust me, when I came here, I saw difference. I could tell you my life has changed just within 2 years. I've been here for more than 2 years, but the first 2 years, you could tell I'm beginning to become a man. you can be a PhD holder in Ghana and you still be a boy.
What is your
You get
question?
it? So the question
What
is,
your
are you going
question?
to try and like implement like a sort of law that will make every leadership or every president who comes on power to follow a certain terrain to finish some project? Are you going to initiate something like that?
Yes, sir. That's why we're the only ones who has proposed a national development plan for the next 50 years in 4-year increments, so that when you come into power for 4 years after we are gone, and the people you're there to serve for 4 years, you can just follow the national development plan and do what it prescribes for you to do. You don't come in there with a manifesto to do what you want, but what Ghanaians have prescribed in the document that's entrenched in the constitution by law. So you can't do what you want. You have to do what's in the document. That's what we are going to create for the country. So that will be the blueprint.
Right. All right. I think our far has been fast spent. Right. My major problem and my question I would like to ask you is that most sometimes we are all complaining about the leadership of Africa, but I'm thinking that the youth of Africa have a lot of problem more than the leadership. A critical example is what we are doing right now here. When you come to my program, my program is all about how to get a good leader in Africa and how can we get a good people to lead us. But look at all kind of policy you are bringing into the Republic of Ghana, and look at how you are narrating how you can be able to bring job into the people. How many youth of Ghanaians are listening to you whilst you are here right now? And a lot of Ghanaians came here by the left. So how can we be able to educate the youth of Africa or to the youth of the Republic of Ghana to follow something good? Because as a matter of fact, as we are speaking right now, over 3,000 youth are busy watching relationship talk. Over 4,000 youth of the Republic of Ghana are busy talking about sugar mommy and sugar daddy. How can we be able to get such a youth to be listening to you? How can we do that?
Well, the truth of the matter is, Africa, you can't, because the way the mind is programmed to work is it takes the path of least resistance. Okay, so it's a lot easier for the mind to engage in things that are not rewarding than things that are rewarding, because things that are rewarding requires toughness. If you want to be that's why so many people are living at a level which is substandard, because so many people are not willing to engage their minds in a path that is challenging. So unfortunately, the hard truth is, if we have to change Africa, we have to change Ghana. Only a few good men and women would have to do that for the majority to benefit. That's how it is in every society. A few good men and women, that's all we need. But we need a few good men and women to really pay attention. And that's what the concern is. The concern is not to get the 3,000-4,000 people who are talking about sugar mummies and sugar daddies and naked women and big butts, and leave them to do that. Nothing will change with those types of people. The only thing that changes for all of us is for the few men and women who think like you, Africa, to come together and be proactive. Proactive. If they are not, then nothing will change. But for the people who are doing other things, they will always do other things. And you could bring God down to have a meeting with them, they will still not listen. That's just the way it is. That's not me, that's not you. That's just the way it is. So we don't
All right.
you don't worry about them in changing anything.
All right. Guys, our time is fast spent. We are supposed to end this 10 o'clock by, it's almost 10:20 right now. So I don't know if Mr. Kofi, you have any other thing to tell the people of Ghana and the whole of Africa.
Well, listen, we appreciate you so much, Africa Unite, for allowing us to come on your platform. Great platform, great people.
Can I please ask my last question before he goes, please?
Is there time for that, Mr. Kofi?
Sure.
All right.
Oh, Mr. Kofi, thank you for your time, though, and then thank you for your interest in becoming a presidential candidate in Ghana. Yeah, I've listened to you for a while, but one area that I have questions for you is our agricultural sector. You know, like farmers from since like Eve till this time don't have any modern means of farming. And agriculture has been the backbone of almost every country that I know within the African continent and most European countries. So what is your plan concerning agriculture in Ghana? Another aspect that I want to ask you is about our educational system. Do you think that our current educational system is okay? And if not, what are your plans of or your ways of trying to remodel our education system so that it will become a modern one to meet the needs of the ordinary Ghanaian, but not just a true and poor? And then one last question for you is your stance on the LGBTQ plus community. What is your take on that one? Thank you.
All right. So last first, on LGBTQ, every society graduates through periods. So a society is who decides that this is good for us, this is not good for us. And for Ghana right now, the society of Ghana decided that we don't want LGBTQ. And that's what I stand for. Okay, and even if the society did not decide on that, I am not for LGBTQ plus. I am not for it. But the society right now in Ghana says we don't want it. And my job is to serve the people. And if they're saying they don't want it, I'm not going to push it down their throats. Okay, that's number one. Number two, agriculture. I've talked extensively about agriculture. What we're going to do with agriculture is we're the only ones who is agriculture, mechanized farming, which means, oh, are we there? Can you hear me? Africa, okay, you're here. So we're going to be engaged in drone controlled mechanized farming. That means the old way of cutlass and hoes are going. We're bringing in mega machines that will have the capacity, capability to do 10,000 acres, harvest 10,000 acres in a day. Okay, that's the extent. We can have 100,000 acres into tomatoes in one patch of land. That's the extent of agriculture that we're going into. We're going to be investing $10 billion into agriculture every year for the next 10 years. And part of that budget is taking care of our farmers, making sure they have the lifestyle, they live well, they eat well, they're taken care of, their needs are taken care of, they go through the right training procedures to be able to give the best practices to the farm so we can get the best yields to add value for our people and for exports. So that's as far as agriculture is concerned. And you talked about, what was the last thing you talked about? I answered that with the gays and lesbians. We talked about agriculture and we talked about education. Education, we're going to make it relevant. Relevant in the sense that everything that we study right now, the curriculums are off the needs of the people. So what we want to do is to take first, you go to the field and find out what the needs are. And then you design curriculums to meet those needs so that when people go through the matriculation process and they come out of the education process, they have specific jobs to go to. And this is how you fund and you supplement your education programs so that everybody who goes through the system at the end of the day has something to do. We're able to use them into industry, have them contribute, and that's also how they get jobs. Because if you have jobs and they go through curriculums that don't yield the skill sets for the jobs, then your education is useless. So we're gonna match the jobs with the skill sets, match the skill sets with the jobs, and the jobs are gonna be the needs of the society that we need to develop. Like I told you, I outlined in the National Development Plan. So that's how relevant education will be from this point forward when I become president. Now, unless, of course, somebody else has any question, can I go into my closing? Africa, can I go into my closing? All right. So listen, everybody, really want to thank you for joining us tonight. Africa, thank you so much. This is the first time I've had the most extensive, diverse engagement. It can only have happened on your platform, and it just tells how special you are and your audience is. And we're grateful to have been here and engaged with you. And we hope that we get another opportunity to come visit with you and share with your lovely audience. I would ask that you help us, because one thing that we're big on is, because we don't want any Western influence in our campaign, and the campaign we engage in leading to us taking office. We want the people to fight and contribute for their own freedom. That way it's organic and nobody will come sit on our neck. Go ahead. You mute, you mute, you mute.
There are other Ghanaians at the comment section who are asking that, am I preventing them from asking a question?
Okay, they can ask the question, but you see, I have to take another call. So if it's quick, we can do it real quick.
All right. So Kwame, please, you can come and just come and ask a question in the dividend. That is the last one, because we are supposed to close at 10 o'clock, and now we are heading towards 10:30. And this is not the only platform he needs to talk to. He needs to speak to another platform and then speak to other people as well. So, Brother Kwame. Hello.
Hello. Could you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. How you doing, Kofi Kurante?
I'm well.
Good. I've been listening to you for a while, and I'm really impressed with you. Like I'm always blown away. You know, it's like I wish you were already in office and get things rolling. But my question to you is, should it be that for some strange reason you don't get to become the president, right? But one of these parties and they call you to become part of the team, like come help them build Ghana with all these ideas. Would you be willing to be on board to give them all the details of your 10-year development plan and everything that will help drive Ghana forward? Will you be willing to do that?
Absolutely. I'll be more than willing to give them a template of everything they need to do to be able to win. But I cannot join them because they are criminal organizations. But for the fact that they have to do it for Ghana, I will give them the template.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks a lot. And you do have my vote.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So in closing, listen, we need help financially, so please support us. 059-999-5120. 059-999-5120. Help us, because this is the only way you know for a fact that the West, or anybody else for that matter is not going to sit on my neck or our administration's neck and dictate how the government is run. It's going to be run from the perspective of the needs and aspirations of the people, especially the youth. So support us.
Okay, Mr. Cranton, good evening. And I'm so happy that I get a chance to talk to you. It's my first time. My question is, for me, my first time, I'm a little bit to Abano this time. And I have listened to you and my policies in normal person where they oh yeah. So I know say Ghana for etie unsem na okano na say yetwa bamawa e de ensesai bebree den ebeba ordinary Ghanaian na den abrabom ama omo so mo benefit wo Ghana no ma den omo benefit. Say uhwe previous administration both MPP and NDC. We use to word be say criminal organization, which is very true, which is something that is really going on in the both administration, both MPP and NDC. So we banish or quiet, the way be and the same thing I want about Barbarian or Barbarian. Now, be on my ultimate say organization and I say ABR and Kofu person mode development be in Ghana. Once the minister be at the office or just 10% answer. Now approve say ya one just 10% now. How come say obi at the development and also be push a project and I say something, then who minister now what the office and project and then start but who just 10% answer. So when you say 10% now, who approve and happen regardless say Ghana obi benefit and also be then and benefit. Me jidi say you won't form platform so a muti asema wokan na me kan asem kakra ka de wokan on the all platform so a wuti awa na adwen say on to ma Mr. Kofi Cranton as also obe support MPP and as NDC a
bra kwame
me pacho me ba
Mati ude can reform my kakra wa na I say the ya na ya
okay all right so what I'm trying to say is that anybody who is listening to Mr. Cranton this evening, we should listen to what this man is saying, his policies, his ideas, and then the mindset of this man, because both MPP and NDC, they don't have any good thing for Ghana. They don't have any good thing for Ghana. Because sometimes if you look at a company or an organization will want to come to Ghana with a project whereby the ordinary Ghanaian is going to benefit about it. You have a minister or an MP sitting in an office demanding for 10%. If that person don't pay that 10% to that minister or that MP, the MP or the minister is going to say that, okay, I'm not going to approve it. So, Mr. Cranton, my question is, in a situation like this, if it happens that when you come to power, whereby ministers, I know to become a president is not easy because you have people that, you are coming with the good ideas and then you have people that they also coming for money for themselves. How are you going to deal with a situation like this? The reason why I'm asking you this question is that during the COVID time, Mr. Cranton, I'm going to call
Mr. Kwame, our time is far spent. Our time is far spent. So just ask the question so that the man can
listen, bro. I'm speaking to the man. I'm getting the chance to let me talk to him. And what I'm putting across to there are other Ghanaians who are also listening so that if somebody is going to vote and then they are going to vote against the man, they will know the mistake that they are doing.
Yes, if you know
understand?
All this, you should have come here on time. You know all this. We are supposed to close 10 o'clock. Look at the time now.
So let me conclude it. So, Mr. Cranton, what that I'm trying to say is that in a situation like this, how are you going to help us? Because the ministers, they are running the country for their pocket, not for the people.
All right. So it's very simple. This is a very simple problem. Listen, when you can only steal or negotiate to make money if the responsibility of negotiation comes to you. So if you're going to buy food and I give you money and I say, take it to the market, and when you get there, negotiate to buy the food, then you have the chance to negotiate and keep some of the money. But if you don't give the opportunity to do that, how are you going to be able to take the money? You see? So the procurement system is what is wrong. It doesn't have to be sector specific or minister specific or person specific. It goes through a body, a committee. The committee makes a decision based on some very distinct, specific guidelines that you have to meet. If the person who you were given a contract to meets it, they get it. If they don't meet it, they don't get it. And once they get it, and let's say the contract is $10 million, $5 million, no money changes hands. If Africa Unite gets a contract to fix a road between Accra and Tamale, Africa Unite has to have 10 bags of cement, 10 bags of stones, 1 iron rod, The ingredients he has to go and pick up at a government services location where all they do is they give the ingredients for building government buildings and projects. When Africa Unites gets there, he has a piece of paper that is a credit memo, and it has all the ingredients that he needs on there. He presents it at the gate. They take it and say, where's your truck? Oh, those are my trucks coming in for the goods. He parks the trucks, they unload his trucks, and he takes it to his location to do the job. No money changes hands because the government sends a credit memo to the bank of the merchant who is giving the goods. You see, the materials. So there is no change of hands like Cecilia Dapa, where she actually gets hold of millions of dollars and she puts it under her mattress. No, that's not going to happen. So the way we're going to transact everything is based on credit and debit memos, no cash. You see, so you will not get the chance to take money. And it will not be one person negotiating for Ghana. No, it would be a general services contractor that's appointed by government that's doing the job. And it goes through a very specific criteria with minimal expectable expectations. And when you get it, you get the job. If you don't get it, you don't get a job. So it's almost zero way for you to steal money from the process. You can't. So it won't be one of our problems. I trust. It will not be, trust me. This is simple stuff. Simple stuff. You muted, man. You muted, bro. You muted. You muted. Africa, you muted. You are muted, Africa.
All right. Mr. Kofi Cranton is a presidential candidate 2024, 7th December in the Republic of Ghana. This a man that he has a good policy to the people of Ghana. He can become a savior to the people. All the people watching me, I'll plead with each and every single soul that if you get an opportunity to say something about anybody to get a vote in the Republic of Ghana, should be Kofi Cranton. Because most of us here, we have been talking about the freedom and the unity of Africa. And we have been asking ourselves, how can we produce a good leader? When you listen to the policies that Mr. Kofi is bringing out to the people of Africa, if he can do that for Africa, definitely he can do that for Ghana, definitely he can do it for Africa. That's what we all want. Thank you so much for coming here. People are asking if there is going to be another section in maybe in the nearest future, maybe 3 months time, 2 months time. People are asking that. I don't know, but that is going to depend on you. I have a question. You came in late. We are supposed to close at 10 o'clock. Look at our time now. We spent 4 good hours here, and the man's supposed to take in food, you know. So please, with your due respect, we'll look for another time and schedule. We are going to bring Mr. Kofi Cranton over here. My last question to you, and no one, just a question, no. I'm the only person who can ask a question now, and that is the last question. With your policies you are bringing to the people of Ghana, I think and I believe it can help the people as a young man in the continent, because I'm in Ghana, I'm not in America, I'm not in anywhere, I'm in Ghana, and I've never traveled out of the continent before. NDC NPP is having a very big task force, you know. Is there any way that at least we have a little political parties that they are also coming out that they want to save Ghana? I have listened to some of them, and yours is extra better to the people of Ghana. Is there any way that if Cheddar, CPP, Alankash, and all other political parties want all of you to come and form a third force so that we can stand against NDC MPP, because we need a savior? Is there any way that you can agree with all those third force? Is there any way that you can agree with that?
Africa Unite, the truth of the matter is, some of the political parties and independent candidates work for NDC MPP undercover. So if you put them together with you, they suck you down. So you have to be very careful who you deal with. Most of them are undercover. They've been paid a lot of money to work to bring other forces down. So I'm not against an alliance. What I wouldn't want to do is to let the people of Ghana and the youth down by joining with some other entities to bring us down. So we are looking still, Africa, and we are watching the genuine ones, and you can't really tell because they're very sophisticated in the game that they play. You know, they call you and they say, listen, we have money, join with us, we have this base and we have these cars, and it's all a lie. They're lying. So we have to be very careful. Okay, so we are looking at the possibility of working with other people, but we have to be careful. Right now, we haven't concluded on who we are going to align with yet, because we just don't know yet. So when the time comes and we have done all the due diligence and we know for a fact that these people are clean and they are good, we want to work with them. An alliance is a good thing, but we want to do it with the right people. So that's where we are.
All right. The last one is, now you are on the social media in the whole of the cities. You are on the social media. So what are we going to do to get the villages, our old ladies in the village who are not having the phones that they can be able to see your face on the screen? What can we do? Or do you have any youth that we can join them together, that we can be going to villages and then be preaching Kofi Kranti to the villages? Is there any way that we can do that?
Excellent question. The truth of the matter is we have grassroots in the whole 16 regions. We have grassroots, okay? But we can always do more and expand and get bigger and better. So anybody who wants to join us, the number is 0505-109-124. 0505-109-124. Join us, call us, and then we will tell you the closest place you could join with in the region where you are, so you can help us with the grassroots. But we all in all the 16 regions. And the people who are the conscious few are the people who form the narratives. So you tell your parents and your grandparents in the villages that 2024, we are all voting for Kofi Kranti, and we don't need any campaign. Tell them, if you want Ghana to survive, 2024, vote for Kofi Kranti. That's it.
Right. I wish the youth of Africa and my country, Ghana, you know, because I do know about Africa, anything I want to talk about Africa. I want my youth of Ghana to vote out of their stomach. And we want to vote with a hungry lion. No, we want to vote with a hungry lion. We are voting with empty stomach, not to be taking 20 Ghana cedis, 40 Ghana cedis. My guys, I'm talking about $2, just $2 cedis and $5, because $2 is about 30 cedis in Ghana currency, and we cannot be following this and be selling our future. Yep. So we need to vote with empty stomach to get a good leader in my country, Ghana. Thank you so much. Is there any last word to the people?
Africa, you're a gentleman, you're a soldier. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a great interaction, and looking forward that you invite us to come back and share more with your people. Thank you so much for giving us the chance to be here. And thanks, Brown, for putting this together. God bless you, man.
All right. God bless you so much. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
See you another time. Goodbye. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kofi Kranti, who wants to become a president to the Republic of Ghana. He has a good policies. And one of the things I love so much is about changing the constitution, especially Article 71. We all know in my country, when we talk about Article 71 in the Republic of Ghana, it's a particular portion of the constitution that it only feeds parliamentarians. And when somebody come into office, after exploiting the people, after getting all the money from the Europeans without using it wisely, when the person is living in office, that particular article still protects that thief. And they can still take money and give to that thief again. That is Article 71, talking about ex gratia, buying of foodstuff and coats and dressings for the parliamentarians. That particular portion. After the person who we employ to come and work for us has not done enough and we are changing the person to go back, that we need a different person. That particular portion article is still asking that they should carry empty money. The money that we need to serve the people, we are carrying that same money and give to the thief who is going. And that particular part is very, very, very serious. And I'm so much happy that he said he wants to change the constitution, and that particular portion is taken it out. A country, 34 million people, and we have more than 200 and something parliamentarians. More than 270 parliamentarians. How? 34 million people. So there is a lot that we need to do. And Kofi Kranti is one of the, so far, he's the one of them. As I've been listening to him, he has a good policy. Ruling the country with only 10 ministers. Only 10 ministers. And it's true, Ghana do not need, how many ministers do we have? We have about 100 and something ministers in the Republic of Ghana. Ghana do not need that. If only Mr. Kofi is going to fulfill his vows, I promise you, Ghana is going to be on the next level. According to the policies the man is bringing out to the Republic of Ghana, if truly he's going to fulfill that, I'm telling you, this young man is going to make Ghana more than Dubai. More than Dubai. I'll run my government with 10 ministers. 10 regions. We are not going to have those 16 regions. A little part of a country, they will divide ourselves to a different region. He's going to change that, and he's going to abolish regional ministers. We don't know even the function. He said China is having 65 ministers. And look at the population of China. Look at the population of China. Ghana, we are only 34 million. We are only 34 million. And look at the number of ministers we have. So we need to follow this man and make sure we give him the chance. People of Ghana. Me, when you watch some of my